Hey Frank.
Hey, what's good?
What's up, people? Welcome back. Patrol, Gregory, Poacher Starship livestream. I bet they would copy strike me for that. I bet they would. Why? Oh, hold on. I can't see chat very well. Why are so many people so desperate to downplay how popular people like Fishback are with our gen? The hold that Zionists have over the older Americans is genuinely a sight to see. I mean, like, I don't know what you're talking about. I feel like in the circles I'm in, people talk about him as if he's fairly popular to Gen Zers. It is a commonly discussed problem that a lot of Gen Zers, a lot of young men are of the fishback ideology. And I doubt there's like any conscious effect of like Zionism on like even like boomer people downplaying how popular he is. But I don't know. I'm paid by APAC. You could just go into any center right circle and say that old Fishback is a mirage, and if we're not, well, it's not surprising to me that like the center right would want to down play that. But you know, I mean, he's like not still not by any means expected to win, right? Wool. I guess China. Okay, apparently not. Goddamn. Okay. Mr. Fawn fan. Does the incidence of unions mostly fall on consumers or shareholders, or does it depend on the union's market power? Well, it would depend on the firms. Not the firm's market power, but the effect of union density on the firm's market power. It's obviously going to depend. If you do a reform like Norway did, that just affects unions across the board. And then in that case, you probably will have the sort of effect of most of it falling on consumers because of the sort of reallocation to larger firms, which can increase the sort of product market power of the firms. If it's just like it's good. I don't actually know if it would fall mostly on consumers or shareholders if it was more of a like regular American style union election. I don't know if we have good evidence on that. It's my understanding that we have pretty good evidence that it does reduce the sort of asset values that of a firm. He's not going to win, but he's quite obviously winning Gen Z and younger millennials. They don't vote, but it's a pretty clear signal for the future. I mean, listen, I unfortunately like mostly agree with you. What's up, Ryan? Welcome back. I like to put it like this: if you agree with the ADL and everything other than Israel, you're clearly not anti-Zionist. Wow. Any updates on cadence stuff? Not really. I don't know when it'll be yet. It's probably DM him again. I'll ask later if you can do it Saturday, because I think after a Saturday I'm gonna be busy for a few days. So we'll see. Or tomorrow, I guess. I have another saying to describe it. It's BDS or it's ADL. If they're not specifically talking about Israel, it's impossible to tell. Wow. Wise words, Ian Hartman. So true. Okay, I actually don't know who the fuck makes... I feel like India and Bangladesh, don't they have fucking... They got sheep there and shit? Apparently not. Goddamn. Argentina. Goddamn. It might be... Some European countries might still... I don't know if Germany would. Fuck. Fuck it, I'm guessing Spain. Kill me. Literally, who makes wool? Do we make wool? We have subsidies. Maybe we do make wool. Goddamn, Australia? I would never guess Australia. South Africa, New Zealand, Lesotho, and the UK. Ain't no way. It's so odd how people like Destiny say the DSA is obsessed with Jews when many non-socialist normal people say Israel is their #1 issue. I mean, okay, I feel like there's probably more. What's up, Chifinger? Welcome back. Other than Fishback, who are the... I guess there's people in the media in the right that are obsessed with Jews, like Candace Owens and stuff. And Candace Owens is pretty popular, I guess. But there's like more DSA candidates who have either won the primary or have a good chance of winning the primary, who are like Israel obsessed or whatever, than the equivalent people on the right, I think. Do we count Marjorie Taylor Greene as like a bit Israel obsessed? She's something weird. She's not Israel. She's not the same type of kind of Israel Jew obsessed. But I think it's just a frustration with, can't you say Haley Stephen as well? Oh, Haley Stevenson, maybe. I think it's just a frustration because Destiny, I think a lot of content is, not that a lot of my content is, and also shitting on the woke left. But like, I don't know, it's just, that's a lot of what he does. I know you dislike Ryan, but he's currently doing his best to fight the Canada slop. I mean, I could, I guess. I don't, I mean, obviously I have some pretty big disagreement with Ryan. I don't, well, you know, dislike isn't that strong a word, I guess. Okay, gold, some fish, some oil. It's probably fucking, I'm guessing Togo. It's probably African country, but it could be maybe some Caribbean place. Oh, fuck me. My ranking of this in a second. When is your debate? Which one do you mean, the one I with Caden or whatever? I think I'll DM him. Actually, is he streaming right now? Because I don't want to DM him if he's streaming right now. If we can do it, yeah, I think he's streaming right now. Yeah. If we can do it either tomorrow or Saturday.
From Manos.
Nah, bro, what is that reference?
Fuck. It's gonna be. I don't know the countries here. Yeah, fuck me, kill me. Guyana is oil, right? I don't think it's Guyana. Is French is. It's just regular surname, whatever. Yeah, hell yeah. Goated, okay. Not washed. Not washed. Not washed. Not washed.
So, speaking of L Blender.
Oh boy.
I'll back from a video.
Oh, who is this guy? Oh, I don't know if I said. I reached out to that. There was another dude. I think it might have been Ryan that showed me first. The guy that went to Harvard, the like political zillennial guy or whatever. I reached out to him. He said, I'd rather not debate, which is fine, whatever. So unfortunately, that's not happening.
Video I made last week, 2 weeks ago, where we were reacting to a TikToker who was just lying about Che Guevara, saying that he was like this mass murderer, he was like this virulent racist who hated black people, hated gay people, and the historical record just does not agree with those claims. He risked his life to help people in the Congo to fight in a revolution. That's not typically something someone would do if they were a virulent anti-black racist. He was infamous for writing letters and saying, hey, this revolution in Cuba is going to put an end to racial prejudice and racial compartmentalization. He and Castro ended segregation in public and private life. The historical record just does not agree with the accusations against Che Guevara, and I proved that in the last video. But that individual, I believe his name was the Sagnik Basu, who is a political operative. He is a center-right to right-wing, maybe conservative. I don't know what this guy is. He's
basically Democrats are evil because they aren't different from Republicans when it comes to foreign policy. I mean, that's not surprising.
TikToker or Instagram reeler, and he posts...
That would, you know, that's based on enough on demand to like, that's true. Thank you, Fringo. Based on the statements he's making here, seems like the type of guy that would say that.
Terrible political slop. Probably has never opened a book in his life. And, you know, I've become quite fond.
This guy's read all the books, though. Read all the Marx. How is disagreeing with the idea of nation state anti-Semitic? Nation states are... So I don't think that merely disagreeing with the notion of a nation state is anti-Semitic. And I think many leftists don't like Israel in part because of the nation state, right? They don't think I mean you see like Zorhan or I don't know if Zorhan said this exactly. I don't think Zorhan said this. I'm thinking of I think Dean said this in his like Jubilee debate or whatever. They're like, I don't really think that like nations are like the type of entities that can have rights. When people ask like, do you think Israel has a right to exist? And like, I don't really believe in nation states and stuff. I think Zorhan has said like, I believe in, no state should have a one ethnicity, one religion prioritized over another. I believe Israel should have equal rights. Yada yada yada.
Get a job better?
Never heard of either of them, so honestly, no clue.
How is Frank not Frank? What the hell? So I don't think merely just disagreeing with that is anti-Semitic, but I think there's like when people say something anti-Semitic, they don't always just mean like that individual has like a personal hatred of Jews or anything, right? Or like they mean like there's some either like in effect what they're doing has some either like anti-Semitic effect, or it's influenced by some type of like anti-Semitic bias, or like has anti-Semitic undertones. The same way like you can say, there's gotta be a better, not dog whistle, but you can say things that don't necessarily indicate that you have like a personal like hatred of black people or whatever. But clearly if you're like spamming, like if you're like spamming like 1532, right? Like, we all like, we know probably the type of person you are. Like there's probably some type of underlying like bias there, right? People dispute that Israel has the right to exist as a Jewish state are frequently called anti-Semitic. I mean, I think that's true, sure. But I think that's, I feel like I already elaborated. Are we going to think so would be bad for Jewish people as anti-Semitic? Anti-Semitism is an actual meaning. Okay, but it just seems like you're defining it more narrowly than I think what a lot of people mean when they say words like anti-Semitic or something, or like an adjacent term like homophobic or whatever. Like you call Gavin Newsom homophobic, right? Because he makes like jokes about Scott Bessent being gay and stuff, right? Like clearly, like Gavin Newsom does not have an actual personal hatred of gay people or whatever, right? It's not his intention to make like outcomes worse for gay people by doing those jokes. In fact, I think his intention is the opposite. But like you call Gavin Newsom homophobic for like making the jokes about Scott Bessent and some other people in like Trump's cabinet for like being like he calls him gay or whatever. But if like it's 1532 that or 13, did I say 1532? I meant 1350, yeah. 1350 I think isn't it 1352? I don't know, whatever the numbers are. The like 13% of the population commits 50% of the violent crime or whatever, right? Over the centuries, Jews have been heavily hated and almost painted into a corner of ethno state as a safety fallback, not merely cultural preservation. Well, I mean, I think obviously there's a reason Jewish people felt they needed a state.
Of him. I deem him actually a friend because he gives me the ability to make that precious, sweet content. And that's what we do over here. That's what we do on the Underzealots channel. On the Overzealots channel, we take months to make very detailed and rigorously researched videos.
Oh boy.
On the Underzealots channel, we do the fucking slop. We get that low-hanging fruit and we
just like me for real. W's in the chat for the slop. W's in the chat for the slop.
Socialist, but we're actually super, super rich and we're capitalists. We're secretly capitalists and super rich and hoard wealth and do
1350 is always how I heard it. I feel like I'm not making up 52. But I think I did say it wrong at first.
Dunks and Dow Jones. We do Dow Jones. Your main channel takes way longer than a 5-year plan of any country. Okay, I'm sorry. Because I feel like
True.
With another absolute banger.
Okay.
Incredible political analysis. Let's hear him out. This video is about how socialism is actually just for rich kids. That's the premise. And maybe he's right. Maybe he's right and I'm just too mean to him.
Notice that college kids moving to big cities want a revolution. But champagne socialism is not new. All of their heroes come from money. Karl Marx, his friend was paying his bills. He was a rich factory owner. Che Guevara,
True.
he was a medical student from a rich family. Mao, he was a son of a...
I don't know anything about Che Guevara. There's so many memes, bro.
It's so funny because like The fact that they came from money and still decided to forego a comfy, privileged life to fight for a more equitable political model, that's not the own that you think it is, brother. What do you want them to do? Do you want them to just say, oh, wow, I'm rich. Now I'm going to just cozy into my position as someone who exploits the working class? Would that be better? Would that be like a better solution for these people? It's just funny that
usually, so when people bring up that point, usually it's either a point about hypocrisy and that like you're not living your values, which I think people like exaggerate sometimes, or exaggerate might not be the right word, but like you can probably, you can have socialist beliefs and be a relatively rich person. I think if you're like straight up like owning a business or whatever, and not trying to work through co-ops and stuff as much as you can, like there might be some level where it's like hypocritical, but it's either that or it's like some notion of like it's a luxury belief. Like you can believe, like these rich kids can believe that, if they could just get rid of capitalism, they could get rid of all the police and prisons and stuff because they don't have to deal with the consequences. Like that's usually
Is it contradictory to be the head of a collectivist movement?
Nah, not really. Just means the leader gets power while everyone else gets the collective part.
True. I like dude that was homophobic. He's just inculcated by the baseline. Oh, sorry. Oh my God, I hate. Why does my chat do this? By the baseline natural homophobia of society, but he advocates for pro-gay policy. What is this? Not Jafon. Except for the field organizers' strikes, who are pretty tough monkeys and devoted. Most of the so-called communists they met were middle-class, middleweight. Who is this? John Steinbeck. Middle-aged people playing a game of dreams. I remember. A woman in easy circumstances saying to another even more affluent, after the revolution, even we will have more, won't we, dear? What the fuck? Then there was another level of lover proletarians who used to raise hell with Sunday picnickers on her, what the fuck? On her property. This is a fake word. Okay, incredible. I guess the trouble was that we didn't have any self-admitted proletarians. Everyone was temporarily embarrassed capitalists. Oh, that's where this quote got. Well, I've heard this one before. Maybe the communists, so closely questioned by the investigation committees, were a danger to America. But the ones I knew, at least they claimed to be communists, couldn't have it disrupted a Sunday school picnic. Besides, they were too busy fighting among themselves. True.
What's better, picnic food or campfire food?
Campfire food by a mile. Picnic stuff is just
up,
cold
Miss
sandwiches.
Our steak. Not as yellow today. Not as yellow today as the last two, but still pretty hazy out. Oh, what are we? We're talking about fucking the shit in New England and Canada with the fucking wildfires.
that he said Marx's friend was paying his bills or whatever. Marx's friend has a name and is actually kind of important when it comes to Marxism, right? Marx's discography is like Marx and Engels for a lot of the works, right? The first Das Kapital was Marx. But the Communist Manifesto, that's Engels as well. Like, Engels is a very important figure. It's kind of weird to just be like Marx's friend, who we actually don't know the name of because he's not a very important political figure. He was actually paying for Marx's blah, 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 and he owned a factory. Yeah, bro, we fucking know. Do you think they hid this? Do you think you're uncovering some like knowledge that nobody knew?
It's smoky here. I haven't actually noticed if it is really. Guys, I have some bad news, by the way. Well,
how do I best thank Canada for saving the environment by saving the trees and choking the animals?
Bro, what are you even talking about?
I'm some mixed news, okay? Look at this, bro. They got me. I'm employed. Horrible. Oh my god. Got my hat and everything. It still doesn't fit. God damn it. Unfortunate. Fuck, I messed up my OES scenes. Congratulations. Thank you, Boeing stuff.
Are some collectivists more equal than others based on your earlier statement about leadership roles?
Yeah, that's literally the joke. Leaders always get the better slice.
True. People are always going to make fun of people like Scott Besant for being feminine, even leftists, because people naturally have an aversion to homosexuality. I mean, I think a lot of it is probably just culture. Like, certainly, I mean, some element of it might be natural, but like, probably a lot of it is cultural. And I think you probably see that in the attitudes of people over time. But like, I'm just saying, like, we understand that like if someone is like calls you homophobic or something, like they don't just mean this person has like a personal hatred of, you know, gay people. They mean this person is like espousing a belief that in effect will have, you know, anti-Semitic or like homophobic anti-Semitic consequences or whatever, or is like clearly influenced by some like underlying stigma against Jewish people or gay people or whatever. You guys see the Trump coins, by the way? They're like physical Trump, they're like the Trump gold coins. Huge. Yay. Bro, I can't wait until I tweeted this, but the next time there's a debt ceiling fight, there was a plan when Obama hit the debt ceiling during his term to print a mint a $1 trillion coin, because there's one of the laws for like printing ceremonial coins doesn't actually specify a maximum denomination. So in theory, the Treasury could just mint a $1 trillion coin and deposit it at their bank
Canada saving
account.
the environment if their resistance to cut trees results in a country bathed in smoke from fires?
Nah, the fires are from climate change and bad forest management, not from not cutting enough trees.
Damn, I'm surprised Frank said that, because Frank's running on Grok now. He's supposed to not be woke. But we're going to watch it, bro. We're going to get the $1 trillion Trump coin. Can't wait. That's so dumb. I can't wait to hear this administration suggest it. Bro, it's going to happen. It's going to be a situation where, you know, Congress doesn't want to pass the SAVE Act or some shit. There's going to be deadlock in Congress. I think the fight about during Obama's term was over repealing Republicans didn't want to raise the debt ceiling unless Obama were to repeal some of the ACA. It's going to be some of the same shit, and we're going to get the $1 trillion Trump coin. Why are you against voter ID at non-fun? I'm not like super against voter ID. The SAVE Act goes well beyond voter ID.
Fucking no. That's kind of the whole meme about Marx, was that he was like, you know, sucking on the teat of Engels. That's the joke. That's the meme. He read a tweet and was like, oh my God, Marx's friend paid for stuff for him? Owned a factory? This is a revelation. And then he made this video. We know, bro. What did you want them to do? Did you want them to just solidify their position as someone who owns the capital and coerces people to operate said capital? Is that what you wanted them to?
Read the other stuff. The guy who came up with the coin said he's sort of a mad genius. No, but I know he was like, he came up with it like on like Warren Balzer's blog or some shit. Like I know it was like like it was some like MMT forum or some shit where him and some other folks realized it. So, which it seems like, you know, that would be the place where that idea originates. Yeah, where my background in the insurance industry and not I mean, no, but like I don't take your experience in the insurance industry to be like especially meaningful when it comes to like healthcare policy debates. I think there's just like better evidence, and the evidence we have does not even push me towards being like pro single payer healthcare or even pro like super big public option or anything. So, and I think the ACA was like probably net positive, but I don't even think they like or at least a lot of the expansions of it weren't great. Or certainly like, I don't really care that we didn't extend like a lot of the COVID era subsidies or whatever. So, you know, I'm surprised the DoD hasn't forced contractors to use Grok. Well, it's because, don't you know, they're gonna, bro. Grok 4.5, Opus class model. Or Fable class model. I think that is claimed Opus, but I don't think it's true. I take after Jefferson, I'm willing to forego the borders if we abolished the nanny state first. Oh, is this the guy that came up with it? monetaryrealism.com. Price controls are net positive, bro. Listen, at first, like, there were more things in the ACA than just price controls, obviously. I don't think in the context of, like, insurance markets, like, doing, like cross subsidies, and then having, you know, the risk management on the or not the risk pools on the back end to try to offset some of the stuff. Like there's just I don't know, at least some potential for that to be not good. Like we understand conceptually why that could be the case. God, his website doesn't even exist anymore. Anyhow, we came up with a better solution to coin zero interest rate consoles because the debt ceiling doesn't count consoles, really. That was literally the main tenet of the ACA and why it is so popular today. That might be the main, well, I think people just like, it's popular today because people have like slop intuitions about that type of stuff. So it's not, you know, not surprising.
Them to do to just kind of cozy into that position? Because I would say there's more honor in being a class trader that way, born into a privileged class, into the ruling class, and then saying, I'm going to be a trader downwards. It's just funny, like these people who hate socialists and socialism, they really need to sell this idea that socialism is actually just a rich man's sport. It's something that rich people fancy themselves with. But we'll get to this point later. How do you think socialism has taken root in so many countries? Do you think it has taken root because like a small, wealthy portion of the population has pushed for it? Or do you think it's been an ideology that the masses have been receptive to?
What countries are we counting in that? I'm curious.
Because if it's the form,
I don't know. I don't know this guy. I don't know.
That makes
I don't know what countries we're counting.
The reason that socialism has gotten off the ground in countries that are, say, primarily agrarian peasantries is because it appealed to them. It appealed to them. It had to have appealed to them. It couldn't have just been a rich man's sport because there's not enough rich men to carry out a mass uprising. You need the masses. That's the whole point of socialism.
Wow.
If everyone was just a fucking rich kid, a rich college kid, not that that's a problem, but if everyone was just a rich kid and that was the backbone of socialism, how do you account for the Chinese Revolution? Do you think the peasantry that made up the backbone of the Chinese Revolution was just actually secretly all like rich kids who loved Zoran Mamdani? This makes no sense. Do you think the Cuban Revolution was just made up by rich people? Do you think that
this guy's just asking questions, and there are actually some more questions. If you would take the time to think about the answers before going to I mean, I feel like most of the stuff he's saying is like, I don't know. It's not like I can tell the type of like socialist guy he is from the answers or whatever. But it's just like, there are too many. Okay, slop Instagram accounts out there on both sides actually, and both sides out there, just saying dumb shit. That's why we need unlimited clips and non-fun to flood Instagram. That's what we should have.
that revolution? Yes, Castro came from a wealthy family. Che Guevara came from a wealthy family. When I hear these things and hear that these people who came from a wealthy family were able to put that aside and help spark a mass movement that looked out for the interests of the masses and uplifted the living conditions of the masses and limited that exploitation that was taking place specifically in Cuba from American companies and the mafia and all of these capitalists.
Wow.
Instead said, no, we are going to work towards an equitable society.
We need a small, non-even number of walks.
We're going to work towards that.
Please. Bring it back. Bring it back. I should make a 3 wonks like Instagram page and stuff, or just post clips from it. What are they gonna do? Okay, Micah's doing his shit. SDL, pretty sure he's like only active on Twitter. Okay, don't know if he'll if he has streamed the last like 2 years. All right. How bad do we expect Trump to be slurring in his speech tonight? I don't know. This is a big speech. They got to put him on, whatever shit they put Biden on for the State of the Union. I bet they put Trump on the same shit right now. I bet that's what it is. Iglesias' brain gets broken by this topic. Sad to see. What? Oh, healthcare? Pricing risk is literally the main function of insurance. And you stop them from... Oh my God. It stops them from doing it. People need to stop acting like they know anything about healthcare policy. I mean, I agree with that, but you understand why I think that applies to me. That's why I say I don't know shit. That's why that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing, for real. What is it? Yeah, it's 9 p.m. EST.
Diphtheria, rubella, malaria, which they all did.
STL hasn't been on Twitter in months. Damn. Why aren't you at GlobeCon right now? It'd be pretty expensive to go to. I've seen everyone's selfies on Twitter. Okay, if and I'm regretting it. Okay, I probably could have planned something. Okay, I'll go next year if everyone else is going again. I guess I didn't really consider, I didn't know that many people were going, and when I looked at it, it was like just like 6 or something speeches from like in like panels from like people most of whom I didn't really know, and it's like, I don't really, is it like worth spending like, it would be a lot of money. It would be like a 6-hour drive and then like $200 a night for a hotel at least for like 3 nights plus the tickets, which are like $100 or whatever for each day. But I don't know, maybe I should have done it just because everyone else, North is there, Wick is there, Soyfield's there, Ryan is there, Ryan Getty, I mean.
In a very short period of time, I think there's more honor in that. Do you think those movements get taken off the ground? Do you think they get taken off the ground because they don't have mass support? Or do they have mass support? That's how they work. If they didn't have the support of the peasantry, they wouldn't have worked. And it's so funny too, because like in the case of Castro like expressed.
Okay, true. Blah, blah, blah.
Is college-educated elite transplants. Check this out. She was plugged by Zoran. She won the area right by
Sorry for pausing again so quickly, but it's so funny because the base of the arguments that this guy's making, and a lot of like anti-socialist critics make, is that socialists, despite secretly being rich themselves, apply some sort of like moral judgment on people who are rich, that they think it's just morally wrong, that it's a moral assessment, when that's actually not the case. Like he's framing it as though, oh, look at me, I'm using socialists' own logic, and they hate rich people because they think it's immoral, and then look at them, they're actually all rich. That's not what Marxists believe.
They don't hate rich people. They just hate people who exploit their workers. So definitely every socialist. I wonder if he's a knower. He's probably a knower. Okay, he's probably a knower. But like so many socialists conflate the exploitation in the sense that Marx was talking about, which is like just like mechanically like a scripted model of extracting the surplus value from the worker. But they equivocate between that and like some type of moral exploitation. I feel like he even kind of did it earlier when he said like, all the American companies exploiting Cuba or whatever. It's like, I don't think people hear that and think, oh, American companies were extracting surplus labor value out of Cuba's workers by nature of capital being unequally distributed and people specializing in either being an owner or a worker selling their labor power. Like
Marxists don't typically apply a moral judgment on people for being rich. The whole
Can you make money holding someone's camera? That's true. Actually, I should have offered to do that. I haven't even seen anyone like streaming it. I don't know how much it would be the stream other than the booths that they have like set up there. Where I don't think I need to hold a camera.
Based on the inevitability.
The right is selling out over Zoran letting parents have a night out are so pathetic. The problem with ZDS is that there's so many good criticisms of Zoran, but cons are too low IQ to formulate them. I agree. And this is a morally neutral fact that we took surplus labor value from Cuba.
Of contradictions.
Yeah.
Causing capitalism to become obsolete and give way to socialism and then communism as the final production.
Let's go, True.
Moral argument, as this guy clearly thinks it is. It's a materialist one. That's what differentiates Marx and Engels from the previous iterations of socialism, right? Marx and Engels fancied themselves scientific socialists. They didn't believe that they were offering a moral prescription. They thought that they were putting forth a theory that answered for the inevitable result of the contradictions that capitalism encompasses. This is what happens when you don't actually read the theory and then you levy critiques against socialism as though you know it better than the people who actually adhere to it. Because if he was actually familiar with what the theory states, there's not all these moral prescriptions being levied, like, oh, how dare you be rich? That means you're a terrible person. That's not what the theory states. That's not what the theory puts forth. The whole point of dialectics is that in the case of capitalism, the contradictions are so sharp, the interests of the working class and the interests of the ruling class are incompatible and eventually will nudge together so much that they create a new path forward. The thesis, the antithesis.
I too.
That is made. That's what the
I've read. I haven't read that much primary Marx, I guess. I've read the manifesto. I've read the Wage, Labor, and Capital.
Oh, all these rich people are bad people. Some people think if that was the case.
Did he call Nasser a socialist? Did he? I didn't hear Nasser, but he might have.
They hate rich people because they think it's immoral, and then look at them, they're actually all rich. That's the ability of contradictions eventually causing capitalism to become obsolete and give way to socialism and then communism as the final mode of production. It's not a moral argument, as this guy clearly thinks it is. It's a materialist one. That's what differentiates Marx and Engels from the previous iterations of socialism, right? Marx and Engels fancied themselves scientific socialists. They didn't believe that they were offering a moral prescription. They thought that they were putting forth a theory that answered.
That's not how fucking dialectics works, you stupid cuck! I didn't study Hegel, plus continental philosophy in general, at Harvard for 7 fucking years.
This is a nice one.
Some
I don't think I've seen this before.
Know-it-all who's clearly never fucking read Hegel, as he would know that Hegel has never fucking ever used the terms thesis, antithesis, synthesis to start.
This is Charsky if he was based, okay? If he let the dog out sometimes.
Contradictions that capitalism.
The dog in
This
it.
is what happens when you don't actually read the theory and then you levy critiques against socialism as though you know it better than the people who actually adhere to it. Because if he was actually familiar with what the theory states, there's not all these moral prescriptions being levied, like, oh, how dare you be rich? That means you're a terrible person. That's not what the theory states. That's not what the theory puts forth. The whole point of dialectics.
I do not like rich socialists.
Contradictions are so sharp. The interests of the working class and the interests of the ruling class.
I don't really care how rich or poor they are. Some of the rich ones are hypocritical, but
are incompatible and eventually will nudge together so much that they create a new path forward. The thesis, the antithesis, and then the synthesis. There's something new that is made. That's what the theory posits. It's not that, oh, all these rich people are bad people. Some people think. If that was the case, then why would we herald, Che Guevara and Fidel Castro? And
But doesn't Jennifer say that make this move when he knows damn well that many self-proclaimed socialists make a normative claim when they say exploitation? Yeah, I know. I think it's... I don't know. Maybe he yelled at them that those socialists too. Okay, maybe he's very strict about his materialism there. But yeah, like I said, I feel like even he earlier was like when he used the term exploitation. There's like clearly people interpret a moral meaning from it, and there's plenty of, especially the type of socialist that the guy in the Instagram video is referring to, or like these college-educated woke liberal socialist people. Like, you really think that they all mean exploitation in like a morally neutral, just extracting surplus labor value term?
Engels, we obviously can look past it in certain instances. It's not because we think that they're terrible people.
Where rich kids go to school. She moved to New York to go to Columbia herself, got radicalized, and became a Zoran groupie. Many such cases.
It's so funny too, because like he's framing like the DSA candidates, like the Zorans and all that, as though they're like crazy radical socialists. Brother, these are social democrats. These are social democrats. These are not radicals by any means. Everybody thinks they're a radical until
Oh no.
It's like a real radical. I think he would piss and shit himself.
Meanwhile, her opponent
I think this guy actually thinks that there's no difference between Che Guevara and Zoran Mamdani. Like, he just thinks it's all the same shit.
was a literal immigrant. He got votes from the low-income New Yorkers, but not the student.
Oh my god, this is liberal identity politics. Okay, so like the immigrant guy happened to be like a shitty dude, and the non-immigrant person was not a shitty person. Is that not something that could possibly happen? He's like doing woke.
Wait, what? Sorry.
He would piss and shit himself.
Meanwhile, her opponent
I think this guy actually thinks that there's no difference between Che Guevara and, oh my god, this is like he just thinks it's all the same shit.
was a literal immigrant. He got votes from the low-income New Yorkers, but not the student.
Oh my god, this is liberal identity politics. Okay, yeah.
Sorry, he paused the video. Is he saying...
Shit himself.
Meanwhile, her opponent
I think this guy actually thinks that there's no difference
I'm not actually familiar with the girl's opponent.
between Che Guevara.
It's this guy, oh, thanks for $2.
Love to my fab rider, elephant emoji, needs help toe.
True. I appreciate it too, Bucks to Bringo. Hell yeah.
And Zoran Mamdani.
Is he saying... he described this guy as like center right or whatever at the beginning, but by his standards, I think he would say that most Democrats aren't like center or center right. Okay, they'd be right wing in Europe.
Like, he just thinks it's all the same shit.
was a literal immigrant. He got votes from the low-income New Yorkers, but not the student.
Oh my god, this is liberal identity politics. Okay, so like the immigrant guy happened to be like a shitty dude, and the non-immigrant person was not a shitty person. Is that not something that could possibly happen?
Our opponent was kind of corrupt, and he started doing racism near the end of his campaign. Not great, but she's a lootie. Oh boy. Vaughn, do you know hate it? Don't think so. Oh, I think I've heard of this book before, The Anxious Generation. I feel like I've seen it. I feel like my parents fucking have that or some shit. One of the most widely cited metaphors is the idea of elephant and its rider. Its observation of social intuitionism. The notion that intuitions comes first and rationalizations comes second led to the metaphor described in its work. The rider represents consciously controlled processes, and the elephant represents automatic processes. The metaphor corresponds to systems 1 and 2 described in Daniel Kahneman's Thinking Fast and Slow. I'm familiar with the system 1 and 2 stuff because that was in Robert Sapolsky's book that I read some of. His metaphor is used extensively in both the happiness hypothesis and the righteous mind. Well, and all of you know, I'm always on system 2, baby.
And he's like,
that's the thinking one, right? That's the
woke reactionary.
Love on. Why do you think the Democratic Party in general keeps doing everything it can to repel straight male voters? I mean, I think at this point there's a pretty conscious effort on behalf of a lot of Democrats to not do that. I feel like it's in the circles I'm in a very big conversation. How loud are Democrats appeal to young men? Yada yada yada. I think during the like peak awakening times, it was just like there were just a lot more progressives in office and progressive staffers, and it was a very progressive woke cultural moment. So there was just a lot of emphasis on doing things that to some extent probably did put off young men, but. James Tallarico would disagree with you at non-fun. I mean, what is James? I feel like James Tallarico also thinks that's an issue. I don't know. That delusion is why the elephant will always be in charge and you will be blissfully unaware of it. I'm a straight male voter. I'm not repelled. I also don't have massive gender anxiety. Well, me too. Yeah, it is a skill issue. Me too, brother. I wish they would just like read some papers. What's up, Razzle Smasher? Nice to see you here. They got to read some papers. They got to read some theory. What might I say? Okay. Read some Substack posts.
shit right now. There was this article, I think it was Humberto Fontova, who is this anti-Cuban expat propagandist, and he did an interview with Fox News, and he literally said in that interview, Che Guevara and Castro, they were white, and they overthrew the mixed-race Batista.
Like the stream, 15 viewers, 8 likes. What are we doing here? Adam Tallarico pulled. I have a joke about Tallarico. I imagine your joke about Tallarico is so great, Ian Hartman. I imagine it's wonderful.
It was like, how dare they overthrow Batista? He was mixed race.
I'm so much more intellectual than you, bro. I vote for Democrats. I'm so smart, man. You agree with that, easy buddy. You agree with that. You know that we, brother, are elite human capital. You know it. Okay. We are not low human capital. In the 2024 presidential election, 91.3 million women voted compared to 82.6 million men. They're out on the oil rigs. Okay, they're out committing suicide. What else do people say that men have to do? It's the only two things I can think of. The oil rigs, not getting accepted in the college because of woke DI or something.
And he got overthrown by 2 white boys. And it's like, first of all,
Tallarico joke didn't show up in chat. Yeah, I imagine YouTube did not like it. I imagine this is something YouTube did not like.
He's killed a larger portion of the Cuban population than the...
Okay, I can understand voting for Romney. I cannot understand voting for HW. I cannot understand pretending that you're intellectual and voting for this incarnation of the Republican Party. I agree. I don't have problems with candidates being white nationalist. What do you have? Racial anxiety. What? I don't see how... What analogy are we trying to draw here? I don't have problems with candidates being white nationalists. What do you have? Racial anxiety. I think that, like, the reason I have a problem with people being white nationalists is because I think it's bad. It's about our policy. I think it's just a bad belief to have. And I think it reflects poorly on your character as well. Because, like, a lot of it is just, like, motivated reason might not even be the right term, but I think you're taking a lot of like shortcuts. I think you are. It's a lot of it results from like an emotional reaction. I don't think that's true of a lot of the woke stuff. How about it's a speech about to be? I don't know, Isaac. It's gonna be. I don't think it'll. I bet. Listen, maybe I'm wrong here. I don't know. I bet it'll just be some. He'll say like a crazy ton of bullshit or whatever, but I bet at the end of the day, he's probably a lot of it's just gonna be begging for the Congress to pass the SAVE Act. I could be wrong, but I bet a lot of it's that. I don't know. Not fun. Do you think Ossoff is the one, the guy? I think Ossoff has a lot of aura. Okay, he has a lot of aura. Okay, he did well in the Congress hearing recently. He did well earlier today. I saw a clip of him talking about the speech Trump was going to make. I like that he focuses on corruption because I think that's the easiest way to do pseudo-populist messaging without doing a bunch of actual popular slop policies. But I don't know. I think he just has a lot of like slopulous stuff in him. It's unfortunate, but like I remember that ad that did so well on Twitter and everything is like a very good ad of him like talking about corruption everywhere, but it's just like all the pharmaceutical companies are like super ultra corrupt or whatever, and that's why we need to do price controls, and like a quadrillion percent of Americans can't afford any of their groceries, and it's just so sad. Oh, see you later, Topringo. Damn, gone already.
Americans who died in both world wars. Who cares if he was part black, dude? He was a bad guy. I gotta find that interview for you guys. It's so funny. Okay, so this is an article. It's called 5 Inconvenient Truths About Che Guevara.
Okay, I don't know if I care to watch this guy, but I think I want to look at some other stuff real quick. This is just... Yeah, I mean, I think you guys know what I'm going to say, but I hate everything. I hate everything.
But one thing I try to persuade my fellow Republicans of is socialism is the alternative if we don't have a pathway to give people a sense that the system is not rigged and that the American dream is attainable. That's like our job. That's what we have to do. I'm not saying Rome was built in a day. It's not going to be easy to undo some of these economic trends. But man, we ran the experiment. We ran the experiment of offshoring all of our industrial jobs, of becoming a services and finance economy.
True. Do not. Argentina or Spain, are they playing in a World Cup? Last time we looked at the betting odds, Spain was expected to win. Okay, so I'm guessing Spain. Co-JD. It's horrible. I don't think, like, whatever you do, guys, do not look at the trend of the manufacturing share employment across a bunch of different countries over time. Do not look at the trend from 1960 to 1980 and extrapolate it out 20, 30 years and find that it almost exactly predicts the share of manufacturing employment in like 2000, despite all the free trade deals we signed after that. Okay.
Offshoring all of our industrial jobs, of becoming a services and
Do not look at manufacturing output, which grew all the way until it's a little complicated because computers contribute to some of it, and you might not want to include some of that. Regardless, it grew until like 2008.
and allowing Wall Street to come in and buy every asset of modern life and turn it into an investable
Kill me.
line goes up asset. And what has that done? It's created a generation of kids who kind of are attracted to socialism. You have to fix that problem.
Well, kids that do feel, and you're correct, and I agree with you, the system is rigged. Kids feel like there are
God, that's so based to us.
Yes.
And that's the problem.
It is. I love private equity in sports, unironically. Okay,
And
goddamn.
they feel very frustrated.
And this is part of our job, is to provide an option that isn't burn it down, but is not just doing the same things that we've done for the
But
past
they're also
4 years.
terrified.
Does the social
It's not burning it down to, you know, hire a bunch of civil service workers and get permission from the, you know, Supreme Court to fire basically whichever civil service workers you want for almost any reason. Okay, that the court's not even allowed to review because, of course, except for the Federal Reserve. Thank God, I guess. You know. Kill me. Okay. I want to watch Micah. I want to watch Micah talk to I'm going to get angry again at both sides. At both sides. We're doing so much both sidesing today, guys. Oh my God. Oh my God. This was during the Take Back America event. I think before Destiny talked to George Santos. Micah, please don't be cringe. Please don't be cringe. They talked about the economy. What's up, Momentum?
Go ahead, Micah.
Well, thank you so much, Kyle. I'm happy to be here with Woodrow. I know we had a switch up of which Republicans were going to debate with me on this because Republicans just generally don't want to defend their president's economic record, the reason why he was made president of the United States. I think that almost nobody can dispute whether Trump's economic policies have been anything short of a disaster, because if we look at every single economic variable, they're worse than when he took office. Inflation,
Oh no.
unemployment.
We're doing the Dean. We're doing the Dean meme. Which I think is like broadly true, but whatever. Okay, listen, Mike he's got the causal stuff in him, you know, still in there. All right, it's still in there. All right. We need to proactively do socialism. If we don't, they will do communism. Well, no, they're not doing socialism. They're doing national industrial policy. They're going back to Hamilton instead of Milton Friedman. They're doing based state planning. This is effectively Vance doing Obama. I think this is worse than I mean, unless there's comments about the Obamas that I don't really know. I think I imagine what Obama has said is something like, if we don't have some type of welfare state, you know, people will be more illiberal, essentially. I think that is that's fundamentally about protecting some type of liberal society. I think Vance's goals are the opposite of that. I think he's saying, you know, I don't want this type of illiberal society of cringe gay socialism. I want my wonderful nationalist, Christian, no immigration, anti-globalist society. National socialism, certainly.
What's down? GDP growth. What's down? Manufacturing employment. Every macroeconomic variable is worse under this president, and every single signature economic policy has been a catastrophe. He said he was going to lower taxes. He imposed the largest unilateral tax hike on American consumers we've seen in our entire history, and the Supreme Court just ruled that they were completely illegal the entire time. That's the tariffs. He said that he was going to balance the budget. That he's added $4.8 trillion to the deficit in his first year, which is a record for pretty much any president in their first year, so that's very impressive. I can list many things. I really look forward to hearing what Woodrow has to say about his president's economic record.
I don't respect this man. I'm not. No comment.
Okay, first off, thanks for having me here. So just setting expectations here.
I don't know who this guy is, by the way. Is he? Should I know him? Is he? Do we know?
My opponent's an economics major, and he's a debate coach, and
Liar. He's a lawyer now. He's in law school. Okay, he's a lawyer. He got his 4-year undergrad econ degree, and then he changed sides. Okay, he defected.
Barely graduated high school. So, and I was the third choice.
Incredible.
So lucky me. So I'm not going to come out here. Yeah, I'm making excuses, right? I'm not going to come out here and say the economy is amazing and perfect and the greatest thing ever. What I'm going to say is that there's more work to be done, and I think things are moving in the right direction.
What am I going to change from Econ? I think probably it's just more basically job opportunities for him. I think it seems like what he wants to do is mostly engage in politics and like lobbying and media and such, and it seems like a law degree, there's more connections, there's more relevance with that type of stuff than a like econ degree or like a econ master's degree at least.
I
think he has a 4-year econ degree.
That if we just look at numbers and like GDP and things like that.
I'm a moron. I don't know why I'm here.
It's kind of funny because when I did 2 hours before I was told I was doing this debate, I did some quick Googling and I was looking.
Oh, you did some quick Googling. Oh boy. Should have used Grok. Would have sped up the process.
Substack, and I was reading a lot of kind of the economic policy.
Oh no, he went to the Substack. Oh no, he's gonna see Biker's old neoliberal takes. I get the feeling he didn't take the math he needed for the Econ MS. He might not have, but I think that was probably, it might have been an intentional choice. I think he probably knew he was going to. I think he definitely knew he was going to law school because I spoke to him. I was talking to him in a Econoboy before he graduated. Pretty soon before he graduated, and he was already planning on going to law school. So
policies you support, and I was like, this guy kind of sounds like a moderate Republican almost. And
how dare you?
Right. And I was like just thinking, what exactly, and just to say, like, what would you propose to do differently? Because when I look at, some of the writings you've done, and some of them are very interesting, like you support like a flat tax. It's like, that sounds kind of Republican. You support, you said, oh
no, we found that Mike is going to unlist the old Substack post. Quickly archived. I think they're already all archived, but
a double tax, and I was just like,
kind of want to take some pretty hardcore math for an econ MS.
Hey,
this guy really did it.
I mean, for what, like I said, I don't know for sure or anything, but Mike probably had that. He probably had that option. I think it was probably he knew
his research.
Shout
out to you, Idra.
Yeah, right. And so my thought is, it's like, man, I feel like
he's a shapeshifter. I mean, he's rhetoric maxing. Okay, he's being cringe.
President Trump, it's almost like
and rhetoric maxing.
Go far right enough on the changes, right?
Well, I don't think that's true, but let's talk about specific stuff.
But as far as like for the working class people, look, I think there's been some positive things. Look, we have with the big beautiful bill, the average tax cut's about $4,000 for the average American.
Whoa! Don't look at the benefits cuts.
I think that's it's hard to.
Okay, let's talk about the one big beautiful bill. The one big beautiful bill added trillions of dollars to our deficit. Do you think the national debt is a problem?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Which president added more to the national debt than any other president in U.S. history?
I get you want me to give you the answer on this, and I'm assuming it's probably
it's Trump. Do you know what percentage it is?
I don't.
Okay, 27%.
Okay.
The second place is Biden, 18%.
Okay.
Trump borrowed more than Biden in his first term.
It's all COVID.
In his first term,
sure.
Even if we exclude COVID.
Right.
I think the national debt is a disaster.
Okay.
So we have a $1.8 trillion deficit. That's bigger than.
He did the old podcast, or he didn't find the old podcast trust. The Get Lived. There's only like 3 episodes of Get Lived.
Social Security, bigger than Medicare, bigger than anything that we spend. And that's not sustainable. And Republicans have talked about that for a very long time. Your president comes into office. He says, I'm going to balance the budget. He adds $3.8 trillion to the deficit. How can you justify that? Our country's going to go bankrupt because of the...
I don't know. He's not justifying it. There's just some good things. Is Get Lived still up? Where's Get Lived? I don't see Get Lived. No. Do you think Sonsol still? Oh no, it's Silver. I think Micah took down a lot of his older stuff. I guess not the Substack, but I meant Wonk's hard to find. Go to Econoboy archive. Okay, thanks. I thought I saved it enough, but. They are, I guess, you have to know the like channel name and stuff. But for anyone who wants to go to it, yeah, he wouldn't know that. The 3 Wonk stuff and Econoboy stuff. Econoboy archive on YouTube. It's got all the videos and streams.
Every single Democrat for the past 25 years has lowered the deficit. From the time they took office, the deficit was higher at the very beginning. At the end,
wait, starting the last 25 years?
I don't. So it could be true even on the other more appropriate measure, which is like 10-year debt approved or whatever, that it's still better Democrats are better for the deficit. But you should probably use 10-year debt approved because you know, most of the effects that a president's budget is going to have. It's not in the 4 years that they're in office. It's going to be, you know, the however long the tax cuts or spending bills they pass last.
Every single president?
Every single Democratic president has started with a higher deficit than they left with. They lowered
Joe
the
Biden
deficit,
as well, or?
including Joe Biden,
Okay.
I guarantee you. Every single Republican president has done the opposite. They started with a lower deficit, they increased the deficit. If you care about the national debt, I hope you would agree with me that Democrats are much better on this issue and that Trump has completely betrayed his campaign promise to balance the budget. Can we agree on that?
No, I don't think we can, because I think, you know, when I think about, you know, usually the most famous example of someone who's lowered spending as a Democrat would probably be Bill Clinton, right? And he had a Republican Congress. I mean, so you have to put that.
Do you support adding $3.8 trillion to the deficit? You think that's a good policy?
I think that you know, if you put that in a vacuum, do you want $3 trillion in debt or not $3 trillion in debt in a vacuum, and you don't have any other variables? Sure.
I don't think let's take it out of the vacuum.
It's like,
Why
do
would
you want bad thing or good thing? Yeah, I don't want bad thing.
I'm going to lower the deficit, increases the deficit. That's betraying your campaign promise. That's exactly what Trump did. And what did he borrow? What did he borrow for? For this war in Iran? He's cost us $100 billion already. Was that a good investment?
No.
For the rich?
That's like this is skill A. Don't you know, you could fund all the Democrat social programs if we just stop the endless war, guys. I know Micah doesn't believe that. Okay, I know, but taxes for the rich. Oh my God, that too. I know. I think it's okay to appeal to the distributional effects of stuff, but
the one big beautiful bill lowered the tax rate on the highest income Americans from 39.6% to 37%. That's a permanent tax break. Corporate tax breaks as well. It was from like 35%. It lowered it down to the 20s.
And obviously the corporate tax breaks only went to the rich. There's no incidence on consumers or workers from a corporate tax because they're on corporations. The corporations, big money.
Permanent tax breaks. You mentioned some tax breaks for working class people. No tax on tips, right? You guys like to talk about those. Do you know when those expire? Those tax cuts on normal people?
My understanding is there's a 10-year sunset. Is that right?
2028.
Okay.
So all the tax cuts on the rich, funded by the deficit, by the way, we borrowed money to do this, they're permanent. All the tax cuts for normal people out in the crowd, they're temporary. How do you not see that as the scam it is? This isn't pro-working class people. The rich people get to run away with borrowed money. We're borrowing money to give them a tax break. And then what do normal Americans get? A temporary tax break that expires as soon as Trump leaves office? I think that's...
They're not even good tax breaks. They're not even good tax breaks. They're just stupid. They're just like no tax on tips. It's just stupid. It's just a stupid policy, okay? And it is like, it's silly that they expire in, 40 years as opposed to the other ones being permanent or whatever. But it's just also a silly policy. It's just also something silly that you don't want to do in a tax code. Like, why are we adding some random as exemption for tipped income? And also only for, which by the way, exclamation point TTS in the chat. Okay, they add the streamers or like internet creators are on the like jobs that you can actually deduct tips for. Okay, so all the income you give me is tips, obviously. So there's that. But kill me. Cutting the top marginal income tax is far more economically beneficial than tax cuts for workers. I mean, I think it's like, it's understandable to appeal to the distributional effects or whatever, because I think that's a lot of things that people on both sides of the aisle, guys. Almost everyone agrees that there should be a progressive tax code, and that generally you want the progressive tax code or the tax code to be fairly progressive. I want to say as progressive as possible, but meaningfully progressive. So I think it's unfair to appeal to the distributional outcomes there. If you just want to argue that like the sort of long run benefits, or like the distributional effects don't really matter, which there are cases in which I agree with that. I don't think inequality is like a super big deal or anything, or that like the long run outcomes are going to be better just because like, in the long run per capita income for even the bottom 10% of people is going to be substantially higher under low taxes than it is under higher taxes. Like, I don't know, that's fine. But, we can't get that. We can't get those conversations. We get slop. We should optimize for growth, not progressivity. Well, I mean, that's what, like, obviously, that's why I'm not saying as progressive as possible. But, like, that's what everyone thinks it should be meaningfully. There's converging intuitions, converging goals there.
That's a scam.
I mean, my understanding is the reason why they were temporary was because of some sort of like legislative.
It's convenient how that.
Yeah, I mean, that's
not for the rich people though. Those have to be permanent because of rules.
I don't know if this is key because hasn't there already been a bill introduced to make them permanent? Yeah, I don't think there was any. I don't know. There was they already played the games with the the current baseline, the current law baseline with the versus the current policy baseline, where under current law the tax cuts were set to expire. So judged that way, the big beautiful bill added a lot to the deficit because it extended a lot of the 2017 tax cuts. But they degrade it, I think, changed it to the current policy baseline, which is, you know, based on the current actual effective policy. And judged that way, since a lot of tax cuts, since a lot of the big beautiful bill is just extending current policy, actually, it didn't add that much to the deficit. I don't know why I feel they almost certainly could have gotten through the other cuts as well. You're not blind. Have you watched The Odyssey? I have not. I feel like bill introduced to extend Social Security deduction. I feel like there was already a bill to do at least one of these, but I could be wrong. I'm not seeing. I'm seeing just stuff about Social Security reform more generally.
I'm sure I'd love them to be permanent, but you know what? If you know, it's funny. And again, you know, you said I did a little bit of research. I was like, man, you know, if we do some of the things that you proposed on your Substack, and you get, you know, with things that, you know, kind of Republicans support, you know, you were part of the platform committee for the Democratic Party. I got to imagine you were sitting in that room, and I understand that these are not your positions, but
I'll tell you for the good after. Okay, I await your ruling. If you accept structural forces putting downward pressure on interest rates and basic economic theory about growth, then you should be bullish on deficit finance tax reform, TCGA, and bearish on SS. Well, I guess it might be bearish on SS compared to an individual retirement account if you mandated savings and stuff, I guess. Sure. But structural forces putting downward pressure on interest rates and basic economic theory, when you would also expect a deficit finance spending to put some upward pressure on interest rates, right? At the current level of debt we are at, that is probably a reasonable thing to expect. Most analysis that I've seen for the big beautiful bill expect some increase in the cost of servicing debt because of increased deficit spending.
Party, a lot of them don't seem to agree with you on some of the positions you hold.
I don't think that's true. I mean, I have some technical economic positions that I'd be happy to talk about. That might be a little bit boring. But I think, for instance, it's...
Give it to me. Give it to me. Say them. Say DBCFT. Say it. Is gender a social construct? I hate everything. I think there's an aspect of gender, at least, of what we understand gender to be, that is socially constructed. Yes. The structural forces are the usual suspects that you can expand upon from savings glut type stuff. Is biological sex a social construct? In a less meaningful sense, you can say that, like, it is, but I think I would say no. There is some sense in which, like, it is literally, like, you know, it is just a social construct within the biology field to assign certain, you know, gametes or physical reproduction traits into, like, certain classes. But, like, you know, that's all, like, based on meaningful stuff that, like, is actually useful to talk about and stuff. I just don't think, like, that, I don't understand what you think either of those views imply there.
Okay for us to have a tax of, let's say, 8% on all of our income, flat on everybody, to pay for universal health insurance. That's a progressive policy, though, because people like Jeff Bezos...
But construction, would gravity also be a social construct by physics then? So I don't think it would be in the same way, no. There is a sense in which, like, all, like, the terms and, like, understanding of things is all going to be socially constructed, even for things that we understand the concept. Like, the concept abstractly is like a stance independent thing, like gravity, right? Is like a thing. Well, it's kind of a thing that exists from my understanding. We don't like it's the warping of space time. So is it actually really a force, guys? I watched the Big Bang Theory and I'm smart, but like there's a sense in which, like, the, we're using socially constructed terms, socially constructed understandings of things to refer to things. But I think like when people like, it's not as meaningful to say that like sex is a social construct, because we all like, we understand when we say, when we're referring to sex, we're mostly referring to like physical, stance independent things or whatever. We care about like that concept there. Gender, I think, has like a internal subjective in a sense of like the subject, right, has some experience presumably of gender, and we have like societal roles and expectations for people of different genders that don't always align with their sex, right? Like that's the relevant thing. TCJ was near $6 trillion bill. Ours worked to get $4 trillion in tax hikes to offset this growth, along with a few $100 billion from growth effects. People don't want you to hear this, but they tell you the 1.9 trillion. They just tell you the 1.9 trillion tagline. No mention of the offsets or low interest rate environments, and the fact that per year relative growth, it's not that worrisome. Of course, if you're skeptical of long-term bond markets, you're fine to be scared, but the same people critiquing the TCJ are yelling about how spending more is okay because CYZ, it's inconsistent. Well, don't unconscious brain dead people still have gender though? They don't have like an internal sense of gender because they're dead. There is no subject there anymore.
Bezos pay way more.
How is gender about an internal? There is an aspect of gender that is internal. Not all of gender is understood to be internal. Is right? Do I have to answer it? There is an obviously. There's an aspect of race. There is like a stance independent factor that's like biological about like how much melanin is in your skin. There's also a socially constructed component of it in the sense that we have different biases, different or institutions treat people differently by nature of their perceived race and such, and yada 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 yada.
More 8% of their income is a lot more than mine. So you might say, well, that's a flat tax, so it's not a progressive policy, but it is a very progressive policy. Right now, we pay the same amount for health insurance as Jeff Bezos does, around the same, right? He pays $10,000 a month, or he pays $10,000 a year, we pay $5,000 a year. I want it to be based on a percentage of income.
NBC and ABC said they would not carry Trump's speech tonight. Based? Oh no. Bro, he's gonna drop the N-word. Let's go. Oh, what's up?
I'm sorry. What did Micah say he wants to be a percentage of income?
I think he said 8%.
Oh no, but what did he of what? Of healthcare spending or what?
He said like he's talking about a proposal for a flat tax of 8%, and then I think he said like we and Jeff Bezos pay like the same amount for health insurance, but like that's a lot bigger percentage of our income than it is his, I think. Yeah,
okay. I thought I heard him say that he thinks it should cost a percentage of your income, which is a ridiculous price to spend. Okay, maybe.
Right? He pays $10,000 a month.
You know the problems, because it's intuitively appealing, right? Like, oh, if you're rich, then a certain price matters to you less. But if it's a percentage of your income,
I want it to be, I want it to be a percentage of your income.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know if that's what he said. I'll give him charity, but I thought about this when I took Econ 101. It's like, oh, why shouldn't prices be a percentage of your income? That takes account of like diminishing marginal utility, right? Because then you take a percentage of income. Well, you know the problem with that? Then you have no incentive to work, right? Like, let's say you earn $1 million, or like let's say I earn $10, and a TV now costs $2. Well, if I work more, I'll get $2,000. Well, now it costs $400. What did I do? I'm spending the same percent. Like, what the fuck? I'm not getting any richer, so I didn't work more. Stupid. Yeah. And also, you should just. This is high level nerd shit, but this is equivalent to what's called the Stiglitz-Atkinson theorem. Okay, you can make it equivalent. And they basically say, well, why have different tax rates on different goods? Just have a nonlinear income tax, and that's it. That's all you need to do. It's more efficient, and it's true. It's a truth nuke. Stiglitz again. 20th century Stiglitz is a beast. Okay, I don't know what the fuck happened with that guy. I don't know what the fuck he smoked, but he was a beast. Yeah, no.
Either way, I've read a bit.
Is that Micah debating Kai?
No, he's debating some other dude. It's some other right wing guy.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Yeah, well, either
Woodrow
way.
Johnson II.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, no, either way, can I complain for a minute?
Sure.
Yeah, I'm in like a progressive server or something, and I want to feel something. I'm doing self-harm. So I post a paper. I post the Norway Union paper. Okay. and then the first interaction is, oh, so you're saying you want to get rid of unions? We already don't have them. I'm like, well, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just pointing out the causal effects, right? I'm innocent. I'm doing the Jordan Peterson thing. It's like, oh, did I say that? Did I say that? I just said it's causing more unemployment, and consumers pay more, not even shareholders. But I didn't say if it's good or bad. And then, so that was the first part of the conversation. Then it was like, why are shareholders even necessary? What do they do? And I was like, oh, well,
Incredible.
they provide capital, they take risk, they lower time preference. And then it's like, oh, well. And then it was a good faith discussion, actually. So that was enjoyable about alternatives to capitalism. But I'm wondering, what would you say to people who are like, capitalism is prone to crisis? What would you say? I know what they say.
For one, it seems like, not that we have like a great understanding of what causes like recessions or anything, but like certainly like it's definitely not clear that like large scale financial crises or like recessions, depression are like intrinsic or endogenous, one might say, to the financial system or to capitalism, whatever. And to the extent that does exist, probably we already have ways of mitigating it with monetary policy, with fiscal policy. We have some understanding of these things. And then it just seems like, overall, like the sort of longer run outcomes are better under capitalist systems and social systems, even for the lower classes. So, you should just care about that, that evidence that we have.
Well, wait. Do you know who Dispel is?
I think I've heard of them, like the YouTube channel, like.
Yeah,
I believe so.
Yeah, so it's like some sloppulist retard. He is posting in Pisco's server all the time. And he's keen on challenging people to debate. So actually, fuck it. I've been like, no, I don't want to have recorded debates because I don't enjoy having recorded debates. There's no recorded debate of me ever on YouTube. Aside from like, VODs of streams or something.
Mm-hmm.
But
aside from my channel, I
guess you uploaded some, but that's fine by me. It's whatever. It's debating the worst people. But yeah, Dispel is one of the worst people. So his shtick is just like to try to look as if he understands remotely economics, but then like be retarded and populist. Right, so he will talk to you about like, oh, look at Jevons paradox. Oh, look at like Goodhart's law, stuff like that. But it's stupid. It's like all Fugazi. The moment you try to penetrate it, it's like all Fugazi. Right? So I don't know. So what's his name? QF, Fortnite God, whatever he proposed, we debate on your channel. So if he's in the queue, pull him up. Tag me and pull him up. I'll debate him. I'll destroy that fraud. I will. No,
okay.
But yeah. What else?
Wait, what does he even use Goodhart's law for? Because I feel like I usually hear Goodhart's law. Like that's kind of against central planning.
Yeah. What do you think the most retarded use of Goodhart's law is? And that's what he did.
It'd be like something like companies and like CEOs can't make firms more productive because any metric they set.
So I think QF, maybe someone else, Fortnite God, right? That's I don't know if you call him QF or Fortnite God, whatever. Yeah. So he sent Noah Smith's response to JD Vance about GDP being actually good. And then Dispel was like, no, actually, Goodhart's law, you should. Every metric breaks down when you try to target it. Like stupid, retarded, completely not getting it. And then you know what his replacement was? It was we should use median wages deflated by what was it? Inelastic goods and the goods that have the least productivity growth. Basically, trying to
incredible.
Trying to like be Bamulian.
Yeah.
It's like, why the fuck is that the proper CPI? Like maybe you could do some interesting macro analysis on like the slowest productivity growth sectors, but why the fuck should that be the deflator for like quality of life, right? Not to mention, this also falls to Goodhart's law under this retarded interpretation, right?
yeah,
Like that's also a metric. Very stupid. Very stupid. This guy's not intelligent. He will never respond on substance. He will try to obfuscate and like be, I don't know about jargonish, but like appear sophisticated. It's all fugazi. I've destroyed it many times. But yeah. Over text every time. So, I don't know. So good for a Fortnite god for suggesting that. But yeah.
True.
Yeah. What else? I don't know. You reading anything? Reading any books?
Kind of. I've
been thinking of for one, Kaplan is going to publish a new book soon. I don't know if it's already published or pre-ordered or something, but it has to be like Unbeatable: The Brutally Honest Case for Free Markets.
Yeah.
That's got to be a banger. That's got to be a banger. Kaplan writes well. Okay, you can say he has stupid takes. He does. But he writes well. He writes comprehensively. And yeah, so there's that. Another thing is, I swear I'm not racist. I swear I'm not racist.
Book.
I want to read more into the like country IQ metrics. I feel like
whoa.
I feel like maybe not all the arguments. No, it's not. That's the thing. Even if, like you say, like, I don't know, Africa has lower IQs, it need not be genetic or like the racialist explanation, right?
Yeah, I know.
Look, if you're like an environmentalist and you think it's the nutrition and education, as I do, think, harm intelligence, then like you'd expect the most impoverished nations to have it. It's not genetic. But it's so toxic to even touch. So that makes me appeal. That makes me attracted to it. I want to read about it.
Even like Ryan Kaplan has a lot of stuff about like, even if you take the worst assumptions about like national IQs or whatever, it still implies like kind of absurd levels of immigration to be net positive still, especially because all the low human capital people, they just do work that frees up the elite human capital people to
the intelligent people.
Yeah,
that's all the more reason for immigration. No, he is goated. He is goated. But then I'm not an ANCAP. But then again. I do think Friedman is better than. Well, it depends. It depends. Like David Friedman, he's smarter for sure, and he is better. He's a better theorist, but I rarely see him engage with anything empirical. Rarely, I think. But Kaplan, he tries. He does it. I don't know. Reading chapters of The Myth of the Rational Voter is it's good stuff. It's good stuff. Yeah, but I don't know. That's what I'm planning on reading. Are you reading?
Chat wants to know if you think Cremex is a fraud on the race IQ subject. You know the Twitter account?
Yeah, I've just not read what he had to say on it. I always avoided this topic with a 10-foot pole, but I'm thinking I might read it. I know Scott Alexander has like a lengthy blog post saying how I learned to stop worrying and accept Lynn's IQ estimates or something. Either way, it's whatever. I mean, I think Krem, he points to like it being tightly correlated with educational attainment. It might. Yeah, I mean, at that point, then why not use educational attainment as the metric? I don't get it.
The blog,
I don't get it. It may or may not be, but that seems like a less offensive. If it is strongly correlated, then just use that, and it will be less offensive, I think. No, but there's that. I know Richard Hanania does like stuff with the like industrial policy doesn't work. It was the Asian countries had higher IQs. Wait, let me kill a fly really quick. Is that okay? Can I do that?
I mean, it's gonna have, if you don't kill it, a fly's probably gonna have like a lot of fly babies that are all gonna die horrible deaths anyway. So you're preventing all that.
It flew away though. I'm retarded as fuck. Wait, it might not.
I've been listening to Kakistocracy. I got the audiobook, which I don't really.
Oh, yeah. That's supposed to be a good book. He talks about the
believe it or not.
The paper, the synthetic control paper.
Yeah.
He talks about that. I thought he did a really good job avoiding all the problems with it in the book. Maybe that's a bad thing, but yeah, he's just like. He's like, oh, well, the researchers thought it's hard to define populism, but apparently the literature has like a lot of agreement on what it is. And who are the populists? So you don't even need it. Yeah, but then you might open the paper. I think the paper is solid, to be clear. I think it's way better than anything populists ever dream of citing. But I think it coded Boris Johnson as a populist. Now, granted, he only had 1 year in the data set, so I don't think it matters at all. But
I know. Sad.
yeah, I don't know. If you wanted, you could nitpick a lot of the data, but I don't think you should. I think the paper stands. I think it's better than anything. These populists ever
Tell
thought
Samuel
of doing.
Text that Richard Hare's book is a pretty decent start.
Richard Hare's book. Let me look into it. Richard. Yeah, how do I say his last
I think
name?
it's a national IQ thing. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I'm seeing he's a psychologist, so it's probably that. He looks funny, but let's see. IQ book. IQ book. The Neuroscience of Intelligence. When was this published? I'm not reading old books. Okay.
Richard Adani is kind of insane on Ukraine/Russia and trans topics. What has he said?
Human
Super insane about them. I don't know.
Okay, as a book, the Science of Human Intelligence, second edition, 2023. Yeah, I might actually read that. Yeah, 2023. Yep, seems good. I'll look into the guy. If he's like a raging racist, I won't. But I trust your chat. Your chat is good.
That's
good
true.
People. Yeah. Also, I
Very
mean,
fine
why
people.
avoid? Maybe racism is true. Why avoid it? Right? No.
It could be.
I don't know.
Probability is above 0.
No, I think it's negative. I think it's racist, actually, what you just said. No, but either way.
Damn.
Yeah. What else? Oh, wait, I have new message requests. Oh, from Matilda. Let's go. She's really into me. She creates like a bunch of alt accounts trying to DM me. It's crazy. Yeah. I just have that effect on women, especially like seemingly Ukrainian women. Yeah, I don't know. but yeah. Yep. Yeah, I don't know.
True.
So I have something else to yap about. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not convinced I do. So I'll leave you be.
All right.
Yeah, that's about it. Talk to you later. I'll watch your stream. I like you.
True.
I love you, actually.
Do you need me to say it back? Are you insecure, man? You're waiting for me to
I
say.
want you to say back.
I love you too, King. Stay near.
Yeah. Let's go. You made my day. You really
Brave.
did. Okay,
Wow.
have fun.
All right. See ya. You'll ask him about it. I'm not gonna. Why would I ask him? Why would I do that? I'm pretty sure the stuff I've seen. I think it's that insane to just suggest that, like, Ukraine should give up some land to Russia in negotiations. I think that's realistically how the settlement's going to end. And then I think I've also seen it be pretty pro, like the Ukraine stuff I've seen from him. It's like pretty pro Ukraine to the point of like, I saw this one article about Ukraine should just accept a bunch of like African warlords to go fight for them. And then various anti-transgender metaphysics. I mean, I feel like all the stuff I've seen about trans stuff, it's like he hasn't been anti like trans rights or like trans or even like on the point. It's just that like trans woman or woman, but he could be against that.
Actually just cut Medicaid by $1 trillion. So
by adding work requirements, I mean,
well, work requirements which apply to what? I mean, who are the people?
There was also what's up?
I didn't see your answer in the side chat. Argentina or Spain? Which side are you on, boy?
Which side am I on?
There's.
I mean, like I said last time we checked the betting odds, it looked like Spain was going to win, but
Wait, really?
I've heard...
no! Fuck! Wait, no! I haven't even thought about this. Poly Market World Cup finale.
Yeah, I'm seeing 52% or 59% Spain, 42% Argentina.
Shit! Oh shit! Messi is gonna pull through. He's gonna pull through. Gonna pull through.
It's priced in, bro. It's priced in.
Well, it's very recent. It's very recent. Let's see. Let's look at the last. Let's look at the last week. Yeah, yeah. The market's been stable for the past day, so that's not good. But what's the volume? What's the market volume? Oh shit! Oh my god, that's not good. Okay. What do you think about Abdul Saeed? Let's switch topics. To be fair, soccer is one of the most predictable sports, but that doesn't matter because in expectation the market is still going to be accurate. But yeah, go ahead. What?
Oh, you talk about Abdul Saeed. Is there anything new with him? I haven't. I saw people complaining about his fucking Blues Clues clip on Twitter. That's the only new thing I've seen of him.
Yeah, I just so with Platner, the odds of Democrats winning the seat when he got cooed by the establishment went dramatically up.
Yeah,
that makes me. I think that's pretty good evidence that the sloppulists are not good for electability. Now that's in Maine. That's a really blue state. Although Susan Collins was already the senator, so whatever. So it's like a red seat, but maybe. But either way. Michigan, do we have to run like a retarded progressive in Michigan? Really, bro? I want Stevens to win. I'm endorsing Stevens. It's true. I'm endorsing Stevens. She has my endorsement. The the Jewish neoliberal. She has my endorsement. But yeah, I don't know. Have you been following the race particularly closely? Yeah. Well, it sucks because she's like, oh, I'm endorsed by 1 billion unions. And it's like, yeah, you are. That sucks. That really sucks. Yeah. She's like, I've been protecting our industry. It's like, yeah, you suck for that. But yeah, Abdul will do it worse. So, yeah.
That's true.
I feel good about me supporting Zoran but opposing Platner. I knew all along. I am Nostradamus. But yeah, I don't know. Either way. So which one do you support? Put aside who will win. Who do you support? Argentina or Spain?
Bro, I don't know anything. I literally only know that Messi is on Argentina's team. I couldn't tell you anything about Spain. I couldn't tell you a single other player on Argentina's team.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Everyone I know in real life has been like super pro England, and they got fucking embarrassed last game. It was like England scored like in the 85th minute, which is like 5 minutes before the game ends. And then within 15 minutes, Argentina scored a 2 and beat the fuck out of them. It was so beautiful. Messi was like cooking. But
I think everyone I know is on Argentina's side right now. So
good. You're in good company. You're in good company. That's right. The myth of the rational soccer fan. Okay. No, but yeah. I'll watch it. I'll watch the game. But yep. Thank you for letting me yap. Thank you for giving me a platform. You should talk to Tibor Rutar.
That's true.
Should invite him on. Why not? Why the fuck not? Just have like a stream. Hey, I'm a really big fan of your work, and I think we should talk about like blah blah blah. Find a topic. He's so good, dude. He really. No one's like that. He's unique. Yep. Okay. Bye.
All right. See you. Rooter so based. It's true. It is true. I did like his post. I have to read his new one. Came out I think earlier today. But a post that came out like maybe a week ago at this point or whatever, about like becoming capitalist while remaining left wing. Bro, I could have written that post, bro. Half of that shit sounded like it came straight from my mind. Welcome back.
Wait, the spell retard is saying I'm scared to debate him.
I saw it was mentioned in Peace Code Server. It's that.
Oh yeah. But that's that. But so it's 2 a.m. for me. So my brain's running slower, but I'm still confident I can destroy this retarded fuck. So yeah, if he's in the waiting queue, just like ping me or call me. And if it's been a while, then I might fall asleep by now. But yeah, that guy's like a good.
That's what I'm hearing.
Yep. That's what I'm hearing as well. Well, you said it. Yeah, either way, if he's in the queue at any point, yeah, go for it. I think. Yep.
Okay. I doubt I'll go. The sample text, no social cues. Sample text has unlimited right to appear in the non-font stream. The fact that you would question it is anti-Semitic, quite frankly.
Well, on Medicaid, disabled people, mothers. I mean, do you think that students in college shouldn't be able to get Medicaid?
Do I think students in college should be able to? Is that your question?
Shouldn't be able, yeah, because they added work requirements, right, to Medicaid. Oh, you have to work in order to get Medicaid. But who does that exclude? Disabled people, mothers.
My understanding is that no.
Okay, now I don't think work requirements are administratively efficient, and from my understanding, the evidence we have from like Arkansas and Mississippi, and from eligibility changes under COVID, did suggest that it mostly affects people who are in fact like most of the people who lose Medicaid coverage from them are in fact eligible. They just like don't keep up with the added administrative burden. That being said, from my understanding, strictly speaking, it does allow people who are disabled or I'm not 100% certain about students, but I believe students too, to still apply. They just have to like prove that they are students. I used to not like sample text, but it's growing on me. Are you pro or anti-anthropic argument? I think I have told you before. I'm like, I don't think I understand enough of some of the philosophy stuff to like have a super strong opinion on it. But like, I'm slightly pro it, because I think we talked before about the different types of infinities and why it's hard to get to best to people existing under an atheistic worldview. Do you think cutting immigration reduces housing prices? So it probably prevents them from growing as much in the current state of the U.S. I don't think it would actually reduce them, but relative to counterfactual, maybe. But I still think that a lot of immigration is just a net benefit. And additionally, you could address the concerns about housing prices by just having more UMB policy as well. I thought your opinion maybe changed after reading the newest blog post. Oh, I might not have read the newest one. The one about the Bible inerrancy. From what I've seen of Matthew, I think it's a good argument. Yeah, I've seen him. I've watched a few videos about it. No, the newest one today. I don't even know. I don't even think I have seen that one. Oh, we finally published I might know this paper. I think I have seen this paper before. Oh my god. Fucking, yeah, see. I've seen this paper. Oh, welcome back.
Okay, you're hosting a debate. Okay, he's like, yeah, I can do it in 20 minutes. So,
I'll just
tell him to join your server. You're fine hosting this, right? This is like an impromptu thing. It will last up to an hour. I expect it to be like 30 minutes or so. It's like really, it's a layup. I asked him what should we talk about, and he said, I thought he was going to go with environmental stuff because that's what we were talking about before the topic came up. Mm-hmm. But he said he gave me a freebie. I think he said that we should not center policy on maximizing GDP, and people who advocate are stupid. That's like an easy layup. That's like a layup.
Oh boy,
that's a layup. It's going to be so good. It's like, yeah, what metric do you want? And how does it not correlate super strong with GDP? If it does, then GDP will achieve a lot of your goals. And it's like super good. It's going to be super easy. Of course, he's not going to be able to cite anything. He's just going to conjure hypotheticals. I'm tempted to ask him like, what's the expenditure formula for GDP? But I don't think that's necessary for now. So yeah, either way, I'm gonna go eat something. I'll just tell him to join your server, whatever, and we'll talk from my computer.
Right,
but you're fine with all of it, okay? I'm not.
Yeah, I don't have. If you were like interrupting something planned, like I would tell you, but
yeah.
free content.
Interruptions could be kept to a minimum. Maybe not more than 2 minutes of talking time each time. I don't know. We'll sort something out. But
Sweet. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Bye. I'll join in whenever. I'm gonna go eat something downstairs, and yeah. Bye.
Yeah. Okay. See ya. Is Joe Schmidt a off on keep the stream on when they debate fleet? I was planning on doing that. Is Joe Schmidt Joe Schmidt's still an atheist, right? Or has he converted? If I'm not a Bayesian because I'm not insane, so that might be the issue. Oh, what are we talking about, the anthropic argument, or he's agnostic? But is he agnostic in the lame sense, in like well, you can't prove it sense, or is he? I thought he was like agnostic, agnostic atheist, and that probability is less than 50 of God existing. But if it originally been closer to theism, yeah, I think I've seen him. I saw him talk to Best Bulldog once about the anthropic argument. He said he was open to it being convincing, so you might have been convinced. Let's say your sole focus was reducing real housing prices besides upzoning and deregulation. What would you do? I think this is just like a very silly, like, my solution would be kill everyone except for like one dude. And then his home is free. He doesn't have to spend any money to do it. From what I've seen, Joe said it's not the lame sense you reference. Okay, but in that there are good arguments on both sides, and it's unclear which is better. All right. Yeah. Last time I watched him, he was still an atheist. And I used him to argue with my family. LPE still logs, to be honest. Don't know what that stands for off the top of my head. Couldn't tell you.
No, my understanding.
If I remember correctly, he thinks fine tuning is a pretty good arg. Not surprising. That's what they all say. That's what they all say. Fine tuning. They all say anthropic argument. Logical problem. Okay.
Is that that's not accurate characterization.
This anthropic thing is so complicated. I need someone to explain it. Like I'm 5. I've never got it. You exist, therefore many people exist, therefore God exists. Okay, there you go. Definitive proof. I've done it.
18 million people are going to lose their health insurance because of this president. 18 million.
18 million? I don't even think that's the estimates. I remember it being 7 million or something of the sort. Big, beautiful bill. I don't know if these are the KFF things or whatever. $7.8 million more uninsured from the Medicaid changes. 3.1 million more uninsured from the provisions affecting ACA marketplaces. 900,000 more uninsured, so it might be 17 million in total. I remember the 7 million from the changes in Medicaid. Expiration of enhanced premium tax credits relative to an estimate of permanent extension of those credits. Why do FMATs like the Confederates when they were trying to keep black people in the U.S. and Lincoln wanted them deported? Because I think they were, they have some perception that, well, a few different reasons. I think that obviously they don't want people, they don't want black people to have rights. So like they think they have some perception that was more the Confederates' policy than the Union's. I understand there were some people in the Union that wanted to, and they did end up sending some of them to Liberia, right? But I think that's the common perception.
Because of these Medicaid cuts, because of his cuts to the Affordable Care Act. You think all those people are just bums? All these people that are, they don't deserve healthcare. You're too lazy to have healthcare. I think that's a pretty odious position, Woodrow. Aren't you a compassionate guy? Shouldn't people have healthcare in this country?
I do think people should have healthcare in this country. I just think we don't agree on the most effective way to do that.
Okay, I have a question. Sure. What is Trump's healthcare plan then? You don't agree with the plan of giving health insurance to poor people.
Right.
Oh no. Oh no.
You do support Trump's plan of taking it away. Okay, what's his solution for this 18 million people who now, if they go, get into a car wreck, they're screwed financially? What's your solution for them?
Would I be cheating if I said I had concepts of a plan?
Yeah, you have concepts, just like your president. It's coming in 2 weeks. It's been a long time.
Well, generally speaking, I take a free market assumption most of the time. I think you and we do not have the solutions to every single problem, and I just generally think that a free market would be a better, and you've even indicated that you generally.
Okay, please, Micah, please don't just say like inelastic demand. Please don't just say like, well, have you considered market failure? Please. Oh, their topic is I think it was like you should not center policy around GDP, and the people who do so are stupid. Or so. Here it is. We shouldn't center policy on maximizing GDP, and people who advocate for that are stupid.
Generally support the free market in most cases.
I support markets.
Yeah.
I think markets should serve human people, right?
Right.
And I think that whenever we have a health insurance market, a healthcare market, where some people do not get the healthcare they need, we need to intervene to make sure that they're protected. Every single developed country in the world does this for their people.
No.
Why can't we take some precaution, even a market-based precaution, to make sure that the most needy amongst us don't die on the street? I mean, we have diabetics in this country.
Okay, not the worst things you could have said. I can't believe you unlisted the video of him and King of the Coast, by the way, talking about healthcare. The only archive of it I've seen is the video of Destiny reacting to it. There might be some archive of it somewhere else that's just a video, but
which are dying without their insulin. And the Republican policy is, actually, we're too generous to you. Oh, all you people in America, they look at our healthcare system, they're like, you know what the problem is? It's too easy on poor people. This Medicaid program, this AC, we're giving them too much, let's cut it. I think that's inhumane. You want to talk about a market-based healthcare system, I'm all ears, but you need to have a system that actually protects the most vulnerable in our society. And
wait, he didn't debate King of the Coast on healthcare. They made a video about healthcare where they largely agreed. It was like a sort of debunking common talking points podcast thing. Micah Irfan, King of the Coast healthcare. Yeah, see, it's just Destiny reacting to it, but it's not the actual video anymore. Gone, it's dead.
centers and nonprofits which just provide healthcare for free to people. It's a real patchwork of.
I don't even want to.
It's going to be hard to American Healthcare 101 was what it was called. They talk about like for example, they go over to me and like, oh, we spend twice as much per capita but have worse outcomes, right? Like they talk about, oh, that's not really a fair, like life expectancy is not really the best thing to use there because it's affected mostly by things that are not actually the fault of the healthcare system. If you look at the actual kind of outcomes for things like cancer and such, we do a lot better on those, and we screen a lot more for cancer, which arguably it's not always good to screen excessively for stuff, but Destiny doesn't understand much about healthcare, so I'm aware. So you have said before as well.
It doesn't seem like your party has any ideas for how to do that.
I'm just of the belief that if we continued Medicaid, Medicare the way it's going, it's not going to exist for everybody. You have to make cuts somewhere
because of the national debt, because of the deficit.
Yeah.
Okay, so we can afford the $3.8 trillion of borrowing in tax cuts for billionaires, but we can't afford to keep the Medicaid funding we already have because the deficit. This is the interesting logic of Republicans, Woodrow. I don't blame you for that.
Don't you know it's all funded by payroll taxes? Can we get that meme?
But I do blame your party. We always have money for wars in the Middle East. We always have
Oh my God, kill me. For how much Medicaid is almost 20% of the Medicaid and Medicare, almost 20% of the federal budget. Not what I want. This is not what I want either. Not by program, by category. Okay, it's not really what I want. That's the discretionary spending, or it's just, that's of the mandatory, where it's just total. Oh, total. I found it. Medicare and health, 22%. Yeah. Bro, kill me. Michael Slop. Oh, what's up, Catrix? Michael Slop maxing, reaching new peaks. I know. Never try law school, not even once. It's horrible. It's horrible. Why is it so controversial to say that making the Middle East more peaceful is far more beneficial long term than subsidizing some? I mean, I don't think it's. I think obviously the dispute there is mostly about whether we're making the Middle East more peaceful, right? Like most people just don't have that view. That's either our goals, or that if those are our goals, it's, you know, you're effectively doing it. Most people don't have that that view, where I think a lot of people have the view that, you know, healthcare is unaffordable and bad and cringe, and every other country is doing so much better. What's up, GC? Okay, but don't you think it's a fair point that fiscal hawks will talk about cutting food stamps and welfare, but we don't seem to mind spending money on foreign war? I mean, kind of, but it's just like people. It gives people the impression that, like, I think there's a general impression that populace on both sides going to have that you could finance a whole bunch of extra welfare stuff just if we didn't do like as many wars and stuff, when it's just like not the case that you could really do that. I think it gives people that impression. There's some impression that people have that like military spending is like it's growing way more than social spending, when it's just not the case. It's like the opposite.
For tax cuts for billionaires. We always have money for corporate welfare, like this new farm bill. They want to give $20 billion.
Oh no. Okay, you know. Okay, we can shit on farmers. Okay, that's fine. That's true. Okay, we can shit on farmers. Okay.
Big farms and, you know, meat companies like Tyson. But we never have money to give Americans healthcare, to give American children food. How does that work?
Is the goal of taxation, is it a punitive, or is it to raise revenue for the government to perform its function, right?
The goal of taxation is to raise revenue, yes,
right.
And we should tax billionaires more so we can give some more revenue.
But you would agree, as a guy who studied economics, that there is at a certain point, if you tax at a certain level, you actually lower your revenue, right?
Yeah.
Oh, laugher curve, for real. Tax farmers more, bro. There should be no farmers. Need to they should all be bought out by data centers. Okay. Oh, what's up? Oh, is he here? Or...
I don't know if he's here. I sent him the link. If he doesn't join in like 10 minutes, I'll declare victory. But hey, he should join any minute. I can give you a rundown of what my argument will look like if you want.
Well, we're gonna watch this until he's here. Okay.
Oh yeah, no problem. I'll mute.
Horrible.
You tax them at 85%, but look, our tax rate in 1940, our tax rate was like 85%.
There was
no shot. No, we can't be doing this. We can't be setting top statutory rates, Micah. No, it's so over. Oh my god, it's so over. Oh my god, he did the fucking. I know, what a horrible.
85%.
What did he do? What did he do? I cannot watch.
He did the He was just talking to like the right wing dude. Basically said like, "Oh, dumb like laugher curb stuff." Like I don't think it was a dumb argument. Yeah, I think it's a dumb argument, right? But like Micah said in the 60s and the 80s, you know, our top tax rate was 85%.
Look, he's still salvageable somehow. The real Micah somewhere he's still alive.
Yeah, somewhere deep inside there's someone screaming that, oh, actually only 400 people ever paid those top tax rates, and their effective rates were much lower. Kill me.
Our tax rate was like 85%.
There was a consequential calculation. You say the populace line, and then more voters.
I know.
I just hope the interest rate on the debt you pay to the truth isn't too high, Micah.
Study done by the Obama administration that says that past 33%, you actually lower revenue.
Well, that's so interesting.
Jones or whatever, the guy who wrote the 10% Less Democracy. He has the book on like why national IQ matters more than you think or something.
Mm-hmm.
I found a paper of his, which is kind of what exactly you'd expect, which shows that like at least going by the Lin numbers, a nation's IQ is correlated negatively with the interest rate. And that's exactly what you'd expect, right? Like, smarter people are more patient, they save more, lower time preference. Yeah, so I don't know. I thought that was funny.
True. the right-wing guy just said there was a study from the Obama administration that said if you raise tax revenue past 30 or raise taxes past 33%, you lower revenue. I have no clue. That sounds like a total meme. I have no clue what that is. I don't know if you know.
Wait, come again?
The right-wing dude, Trump supporter guy, just said there's an economic study done by the Obama administration that says the Laffer curve peaks at 33%. That sounds like that has to be a total meme. I don't even know what to look up to find that. Obama study, top tax rate, 33%. I have no. This seems like a total meme. I can't find I don't know exactly what to look up to even find this stuff, but this is not what I want.
Administration that says that past 33%, you actually lower revenue.
Well, that's so interesting. Because, this is the trickle down economics thing, right? It's magic. It's magic.
Oh, trickle down economics.
Okay? We're going to cut taxes for it's always for billionaires for some reason. We're going to cut taxes for the rich, and we're going to get just as much revenue. It's not going to cost anything. It's going to pay for itself. And then Republicans, you guys have been saying this for 25 years. You've done it how many times now? Under Bush, under Trump the first time, under Trump the second time. And it's never paid for itself. It's never paid for itself. Name one tax cut that paid for itself. It didn't. You cut taxes for rich people. They pay less taxes. We have less money. So what do you say?
For I triggered on economics, it's been a resounding success. What do you want me to say? Easy money. It's not. I hate everything. We're all elite human capital here. Okay, we all know. Okay, that not all their corporate tax incidence is actually on corporations and shareholders. Okay, we all know that it's probably good for growth to not have super high corporate taxes and such.
To cut your Medicaid. Sorry, we can't afford your Medicaid anymore. We can't afford your food stamps anymore. Soon it's going to be Social Security. It's a fraud, Woodrow. Come on.
Okay, we act like we literally can't afford Social Security. Even if you're progressive, you should think that we can't actually afford Social Security anymore. Because if you were to raise the payroll tax, that would kind of remove a lot of the headroom that you would have to fund other progressive priorities.
Come on.
And he's speechless. Oh,
so
humiliated. Gape.
What would you do differently?
Regarding taxes?
If you were advising President Trump right now on the economy, what would you do differently?
Well, I would say resign because you've been protecting pedophiles.
Well, look, what did...
You just made $3 billion while in office. You've been insider trading and selling pardons. 88 fraudsters pardoned under administration. He's forgiven $1.2 billion of stolen money. Literally, people stole money, $1.2 billion, his billionaire friends. And what do you say? You don't have to give the money back to the people you stole from. That's Trump. That's Trump. So I would tell him to resign.
I thought we were having a debate about the economy.
No, I'm sorry. Well, I think fraud has something to do with the economy, but ask Nick Shirley. So no, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I'd like you to really answer the prompt or my prompt at least, because I think that would you say that the economic policies of the Biden-Harris administration was a success?
I would say they're infinitely better than this. Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So what did they do differently than what we're doing now? What would you do differently than what we're doing now?
We couldn't even get a Biden inflation meme out of him. Dang.
Enforce taxes on rich people. They funded the IRS to go after billionaire tax frauds. I mean, why do we have billionaires in this country that pay a 2% income tax? I don't pay 2%.
Oh my God. What is he even? A 2% income tax? Does he mean the effective rate is 2%? I don't even know if it's the case that any billionaire pays a 2% effective rate. I think if you even look at the ProPublica numbers, they were higher than that. Although that was a little bit ago. These are from 2018 or whatever tax records. But this is Elon Musk 3%, Michael Bloomberg 1.3%, and this is comparing the amount they pay to the unrealized gains they have. But I guess Warren Buffett and Jeff Bezos both pay less than 1% with the ProPublica numbers. What the fuck is he talking about? I don't know, dog. I don't know.
None of y'all pay a 2% income tax, but billionaires can do that? Well, Democrats said, hey.
That's true. None of them pay a 2% income tax. They probably pay a negative. They probably on net received for the federal government.
We should actually enforce the tax.
Oh, it's being compared to unrealized gains. So I don't know. I don't know what number specifically he's citing, but it would definitely have to be compared to the unrealized gains they have. Yeah. And it would probably be ignoring, it'd probably be ignoring a ton of stuff. Like, I think if you look at the Davis Winter paper replying to the Piketty paper, what one was that called? I don't know if I have it downloaded, actually. I feel like I do, but comment on how much you billionaires pay. Even the Stein Zuckerman paper had a way higher than effective rate of 2% for billionaires. Why would you want to include that? Because don't you know they can just buy, borrow, die? Don't you know? Don't you know? Don't you know? Because even this paper was 24% for the top 400. And there are various things like how they treat the discount rate and how they treat the families of people, because not all the like top 400 people are individuals. A lot of them are, Forbes calculates like the shared wealth of a family. Oh boy, I feel like I probably have seen this Easy Money. And then charitable giving, I can see why you wouldn't want to have the charitable giving. Oh, sorry. I guess I must have not then, but it's just there's so many so many things like this.
Okay, well, it's almost 30 minutes. I'm gonna give him 4 more minutes. If he doesn't show up, I'm gonna consider this a dodge, a run, a sprint, a weasel. Yeah. Oh, by the way, non-fun.
Mm-hmm.
So I have this friend from the politics server. Her name is Kate. Okay, great, very lovely. I'm talking in your live stream. I'm just like chatting. I join, I chat, and then she DMs me and she's like, "Oh my god, I just opened a random stream in my YouTube with your recommendations, and you were there chatting with the guy." Oh, he joined.
Oh,
drag
he's
him
here.
in. Drag him in.
Oh boy. Okay, here we go.
What's up, my buddy, my friend, my pal? What's up, bud?
How's it going?
I'm doing great. Okay. Yeah, let's make it quick, between 30 minutes and an hour. You want to go first? I want to go
30 minutes
first.
or an hour.
Yeah, whichever one you want to go first. I'll do that.
You're gonna do what?
You want to start? I want to start. How do you want to do this? Also, let's keep interruptions to a minimum.
Have you never done a debate before or what?
I have.
Okay, that's good.
Okay, do you want to start? I've asked this like 3 times. I don't know what's not clear. I don't know.
Yeah, it sounds like you're asking me to start for you, which is fine because
I'm saying whichever way you want.
So I can start with my position, actually. I think that if policy is centered around maximizing GDP, that's a complete and abject failure, and it pretty much only serves to beat people over the forehead with their lack of experience with what GDP means, what the intricacies of interpreting an economic paper means.
Right.
True.
That's your opening statement?
That's my main idea.
Okay, cool. I'll have my opening statement. So there are multiple reasons why I support targeting GDP. For one, by itself, it's an intrinsically relevant measure. I think people's real incomes matter. I think the more rich we are, the more prosperous we can be. That's a good thing. All else equal, that's a good thing to be richer. Okay, that's the one thing. Another thing is that whatever other metric you may like, and there's
okay,
a
so
lot
you
of,
said
it's
intrinsic.
It's opening statements. We're not
you're trying to go down a list of things that you don't want me.
Yeah. We're just not doing this. I'm gonna finish my opening statement. I'm sorry. Yeah. So. Yeah. But by intrinsic, I just mean the measure by itself is relevant. It's not just a spurious correlation. Okay, I'm not talking about philosophically intrinsic. Okay, now that it's clarified, hopefully you cannot interrupt anymore. Okay, that's
spurious.
One thing.
Okay,
cool. Yeah. Okay, are we gonna do something about the interruptions? I mean, it's the opening statements. I mean, Jesus Christ, right? Okay, another reason why GDP matters is whichever other metric.
Well, it's not that it matters. It's
yeah.
Until it's opening, you can wait 5 minutes, bro, or less than that.
Yeah.
He's gonna yap for 5 minutes.
No.
No. I'm gonna be brief. I mean, the
Like, if
more
he's
you
gonna yell
interrupt,
for 5 minutes,
more
I
you
want to
interrupt-
take
No,
notes
I said
so
5
that I'm
minutes
clear about
because
what this is
it's
gonna be.
a
go ahead.
standard short amount of
yeah.
time. It's not going to be 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But
Look, I'm not gonna be even 5 minutes. I'm just gonna be brief. But the more he wastes my time, the more I gotta clarify and elaborate. And yeah, either way, look. I gave you a chance. I said whichever one you want to open, you can do. Either way, I'll continue. So another reason why we should target GDP is whatever other metric you may like either median incomes instead of average income, which GDP measures, or you may want like life expectancy. You may want individual consumption, disposable income, education, lower child mortality. All of them are tightly correlated with GDP. Targeting GDP will achieve all the other good outcomes. Therefore, it's not stupid. Okay, that's another thing. And another reason to. Okay, Nathan, there's a lot of background noise.
Oh yeah, that's people over. It's my bad. I can.
Yeah, I mean, maybe use push attack or something. Yeah, okay. And another reason I think often forgotten about why we should target GDP is GDP is a very reliable measure that is hard to fake. There are like 3 different ways that are independently available to calculate it. It's hard to fake. Any nation, like during COVID, they can like maybe
broadly
the more
New
authoritarian
Keynesian,
they are,
I guess.
especially they can fake their numbers. They can cheese them around. But GDP is much harder to fake. So that's another reason why GDP as a proxy to assess and target policy is a good measure. I expect for my opponent to hear no engagement on studies. He's just going to fearmonger. I expect to ask my opponent some basic questions about GDP. He's not going to be able to answer. I expect him to try to have some fugazi of sophistication. It's not going to hold up. Yeah, we can start.
Okay. So I mean, like the first point, yeah. I mean, I don't contest. Like none of this is like sort of. Yeah, it's spuriously related to life expectancy, to outcome, to disposable income. Like, yeah, that all makes sense. Related. But I know that's what I said as well. But like, I don't understand. Like, if you're developing a policy that's intended to increase life expectancy, why would you use GDP? Why would you target GDP?
I didn't say that.
Well, yeah, you said that GDP is just going to hit all the others.
We should target GDP. You can also target life expectancy. You can target more than one thing.
Right, but if like you are developing a policy and you want it to increase life expectancy, you wouldn't target GDP.
If you did, it wouldn't matter that much. It's tightly correlated. Therefore, it's not stupid to do. You can maximize multiple things.
It's not stupid to do.
Yeah.
You can maximize multiple things by taking this bigger aggregate of things instead of this highly specific what the policy is intended to measure.
Yeah, you don't have one goal. So for example, we may choose to have cars, right? Like let's say we're 100 years ago and we want to have cars. That's going to have a lot of impact.
You're like policy is,
I'm talking.
Like you're targeting like GDP. Like you can be talking, but you need to be actually making points.
I'm talking.
Like I'm talking over you and still making points. Like
you
say that like I don't want like a policy to target a specific thing, and then you say, well, actually GDP is exactly what I want to target.
Yeah. He's not going to let me finish. Yeah, okay. So either way, you can, let's say 100 years ago. Yeah, I know you're not, but I'm still going to. So either way, like 100 years ago, let's say we want to introduce cars. That's going to impact a lot of stuff. But mainly, if we track GDP, which is easy to calculate, easy to track, if we target that, that's going to achieve all the other stuff we really, really care about in a way that is reliable. As I said, there are like 3 different independent ways that you're not going to know anything about to calculate it. And therefore, it's more resilient to errors than other measures that may be faulty, less frequent. Like, for example, GDP is reported quarterly. Life expectancy isn't. That's one way. You want more frequent.
Okay, so your example is introducing cars.
That was one example.
Yeah, that's one example. There's multiple examples. I've used life expectancy. So like introducing cars, you're saying it would be better to target GDP as a measure for whether or not introducing cars was a success.
Yep.
Do you not think that measuring car ownership rates is a better measure of that?
Well, no, we want to know the effect.
You don't think that's a better measure
of
assessing whether or not the introduction of cars was successful.
Yeah, successful for improving lives.
And
for
during your last couple of points, you proved my point as well, that GDP is just something for you to browbeat other people over for not understanding.
Can I clarify real quick? So for one,
You said beat people up
Be
with
more
papers.
specific.
I didn't cite a single paper yet, so you didn't just say, "Oh, people try to use technical terms." That's fine. I agree you're ignorant.
No,
I think
it's
people
on
should not
stream.
be
You were literally
ignorant
like,
about
well,
what
I
they're
don't think you
talking about.
understand anything
Yeah.
about GDP. Like, you
Yeah,
wouldn't really understand anything about
think,
it. Because
yeah,
yes, that is
and it is
exactly
on
my
stream.
main point. It is used to browbeat people and to avoid actual
I'm gonna finish my
direct
sentence.
policy.
I'm gonna finish my sentence.
Okay, it's used to browbeat
Well,
people.
you're gonna have to actually like make
you
a
guys
point.
can get to that, but
We might have to start muting people. But yeah, either way.
Oh, we're
So
gonna
that's
have
what
to
I'm
start muting
explaining.
people.
So when we say car, the introduction of cars is succeeded, I don't think the relevant is car ownership because that's not what I mean by succeed. I don't mean by succeed increase car ownership. I mean increase human prosperity. Now you can measure that with multiple ways, but one, if you have a measure that is reliable, easy to calculate, incredibly frequent, and intrinsically relevant, then it's desirable to target it. That makes a lot of sense. That's why everyone but you agrees. You're retarded. You have no response. Now, let me ask you a question. Can you name a single way to measure GDP?
So I have no response, and I'm constantly interrupting you to such a degree that you actually can't get your points out. And while I can articulate my points over you, while you're going to say, "I'm going to stop. I'm going to finish. I'm going to finish." We can get to your point 3 later, because when you were introducing your 3 points, you said GDP is great because it's hard to fake, unless you're these other countries in which actually it's very easy to fake. So that point sort of just falls flat. The first point I completely agree with. Like, that's just correlation, that's just associations. And so the real core thing here is your second point, which is, well, your claim that actually it better associates with everything, so we should just target all policy with GDP. And I don't understand. Like, if your political goal, yes, you did. It's literally live. It's literally live.
Never said
it's
that.
literally live.
So yeah, go ahead. Show me the clip. We can do it right now. Not fun. You want to pull up your stream? Show me where I said we should target all policy with GDP. Show me where I said that.
You said all policy should be targeting GDP. That's your main statement.
Never said
Yes.
that. Nope, never said that.
You never said that policy should target GDP.
Wait, policy,
Why the fuck am I
but
here?
not all. I didn't say all. Literally every
Why
single
here?
thing should be targeted towards GDP. I explained what I meant.
Okay, that's good. That's another point in my favor. I don't think all policy.
Like for example, during COVID, one of the policies. Yeah, during COVID, one policy we might have would be reducing COVID death rates, right? Instead of targeting GDP, right? So no one has, and I asked you to clarify what you mean. You never did in Pisco's chat. So the fault is on you. The straightforward interpretation of we should center GDP is never every single policy should only and solely be targeted towards GDP. It's when you say center, it's GDP is a valuable thing that achieves a lot of things we want and by itself is important. Therefore, we should put an emphasis on it and keep it in mind when designing policy, heavily so. That's the straightforward interpretation. Anyone will tell you that. Therefore, my argument is fully supported. And I want to direct everyone's attention. You did not answer the question. There are like 3 main ways to target to calculate GDP. Can you name a single one, or are you completely ignorant on this? Which is fine, but just admit it.
So, I mean, that last little question is also a point in my favor for my thesis. But we can address you bringing up the semantics and the diction, the particular diction that I used in another chat. No, I mean policy directed towards maximizing GDP, like I said at the start of the discussion, is not valuable. We should use more specific metrics which actually measure what we're trying to measure. If you're just trying to say oh, this country is better than another country, yeah, fine, use GDP. It's quick, it's dirty, that's fine.
Yeah, okay, so for one, it's not support for your thesis if in your opening statement you say, oh, he's going to ask me technical questions which I'm not going to be able to answer. I mean, yeah, it's a successful prediction, but it's a successful prediction that you're retarded. I mean, we agree on it. That's fine. You should not enter a debate when you cannot even understand the definitions of the metric you're debating. Okay, that's the one thing. For 2, I never said it's quick and dirty. It robustly correlates with everything we find important, and it by itself has intrinsic value. I think a richer society is a more desirable one to live in, all else equal, right? So that's already non-responsive. So please, for the 3rd time, can you give me a single way to calculate GDP? You can look it up. It's fine.
I mean, I feel like you're supposed to be here to be disproving my points, not proving them.
Well, again,
it sounds like you actually acquiesced on both of my
proposition here.
points.
It's
that
whether
policy shouldn't necessarily
policy should be centered
directed
around
specifically
maximizing
towards
GDP.
That was
whether
not your
people who
that was not
oppose
your
it are
like what
prompt. That
you've
was
got
not
is
your
a
prompt.
straw
That was
man
not your
of
prompt.
what
That was
being
not your prompt.
anti-GDP means. Like, I hate all uses of GDP. I hate all
Nope, never
countries
said
that
that.
are like
Never
high
said that.
GDP.
Never said
And,
that.
right, I understand, right? But this is what you're sort of like arguing. That's the
No,
straw man
okay,
you're arguing
so
against.
I didn't say a straw
And so
man.
when
No,
I
no,
say
I
that
gave you
also
my
GDP
claim. I
is
gave you my
used to like
claim.
beat people over the head for not being familiar
Yeah.
with the economic terms, and then you
Yeah,
ask me,
I
well,
might
like
be
I'm
quiet
not
on that
really
one.
sure you understand how to calculate GDP because you're retarded. It's like,
Yeah, you are
okay,
retarded.
you're actually just backing up both of my points.
Yeah, okay, so let me very, very, very easily clarify. Okay, for one, I said this before, it's not supporting your points if in your opening statement you say, I'm not going to be able to answer any questions. I mean, it's a
Yeah, I didn't
successful
say that.
prediction, but it doesn't support your thesis.
I didn't.
Yeah,
I
you
didn't say
said,
that I wouldn't be able to answer any questions regarding
okay,
GDP.
so answer this incredibly easy question. What's a one way to calculate GDP? Like, what's one
So
formula?
how does that
You know?
further your argument?
It furthers my argument because I said there are like three main ways to calculate it. They're all independent, and you said it's easily fakeable.
No, it furthers your argument because you said it's hard to fake, but that's tangential. That's a bad inference. And actually, what it does is it supports my arguments that GDP is primarily used to browbeat people over the head for not understanding it. It's used primarily to gaslight the material conditions of people. And like you think that like you're not being able to like talk over me, and like your like strategy for talking over me is just like saying the same thing over again. Like, oh my fucking god.
If you know that it's easily fakeable, then you should name a one way to
I
calculate
don't know that it's easily
let alone
fakeable.
fake it.
In your
So you take back your
introductory
claim.
statements,
You take back your
said that
claim.
it's
You take back your claim.
your
Okay, you take
support
back your claim.
for
That's good.
GDP
That's good.
is that it's not easily
That's good. That's
fakeable,
good.
and then you
That's
mention
progress.
other countries which fake it readily.
What's one
and for their advantage.
What's one country I named?
You didn't name a country. You
Okay, so you
alluded
just
to the
lied about
country.
that. That's another.
I did not lie about
That's
it.
another
I
claim
did
you
not
take
lie
back.
about it.
No, that's another. Well, you didn't lie because I don't think you're capable of like having intentions. But you did take back the claim. That's fine. Also, everyone's on the record. We can
very
all
funny
find.
that
We can
your
all
statement
find. We
is,
can
I
all
don't
find. We
believe
can
that
all
you're
find on
capable
the
of
record.
having
We can
intentions
all
when
find.
my
We can
whole
all
thesis
find.
is that
We can all
policy should be
find.
directed
We
towards
can all find.
direct
We can all
numerical
find.
outcomes.
We can all
Like if you're going
find.
to be
We can
introducing
all
cars and
find.
your
We can
policy
all
is
find.
introducing
We can all
cars
find.
and you want to
Yeah, we
measure
can
how
all
well
find.
that is going,
We
you
can
should be
all
measuring
find.
how
We can
much
all
people
find.
are
Okay,
adopting
you
cars
guys
instead
are
of
both
fucking
you're saying the
GDP.
same.
Yeah.
No, he's saying the same thing over
Okay.
again because
Okay,
he
wait.
actually can't like
You
cogently
also
put
you
together a
also
couple
made
of
that
thoughts.
exact point before. That was one of the first points you started on.
It's because my main it's my main idea. Yeah.
Okay, so I
That's
will
why.
just say we can all go back in the stream and see him saying that it's really easily fakeable. So he did claim that, but now he's taking it back. That's completely fine. I'm fine with him conceding that. I'm completely happy with that. On the point
it's not
of
easily
the
fakeable.
debate
That's
prompt, I
agree.
think we should keep in mind. I think we should keep in mind that it's good that you take it back. Okay, so I think we should all keep in mind the debate prompt. In Pisco's chat, he said, and I can quote. Give me 1 second. His claim was we should not center policy.
Bro, do you want to have this debate in Pisco's chat, or are you in fucking non-funds VC to have a debate with me over VC?
This was the prompt you
what does it mean to
agreed
center
to.
GDP? And I went into this debate having thought it over and been more precise with my rhetoric.
Debate is we shouldn't center policy on maximizing GDP, and people who advocate
Oh,
for
the
that
prompt of the debate that you're drawing from another channel after I came into this channel gave you my main ideas, and you successfully prove both of my ideas correct. That GDP is not necessarily the end-all be-all for political policy. It shouldn't be the outcome determinative of whether or not a policy is successful, and it is primarily used to browbeat and gaslight people over how stable their lives are in a high-income country.
Okay, so here's the question.
You stated that position. You stated that position. We can let the sample type. You have it. So you want to talk about the prompt that you agreed to. Okay.
Yeah. So two quick questions. Wait.
Okay, we can talk about the prompt that I agreed to.
Yeah. So if you hear someone saying, "I think our policy should center equality," or "I think in the workplace we should center diversity more," or let's say, right? Would you take them to mean every hiring decision should be conducive to diversity, or hey, diversity is an important thing we should all care about, and we should heavily keep it in mind when we go about hiring people? Which interpretation do you think is more likely?
Okay, so to make sure that I understand your point, you're asking me like if a company says we're centering on diversity, you don't think that means that
way of answering the question.
Diversity is the end all be is the sole and only metric.
Yep.
So how is this not like a straw man of like this is literally like what MAGA calls the Democrats. Like you guys are undermining the security of the nation because you're hiring black people and diversity.
What? I don't understand the question.
Yes.
Do you understand the question?
That wasn't a question.
No,
I mean,
I said how.
It was rhetorical, I guess.
Usually sentences that start with how or questions, but maybe you speak differently.
Yeah,
Either
it was
way,
rhetorical.
Okay,
I
so
guess.
I'm fine. Yeah, it wasn't rhetorical at all. I mean, no one's impressed. But either way, I can move to my second question.
Well, rhetorical questions aren't
alternative-
intended to like
yeah,
impress
yeah,
people.
Yeah.
It's
Which
a rhetorical
alternative
outcome.
metric do you think it's? Yeah. Well, no one. I don't think you achieved any good outcome with this. But either way, which alternative metric do you think is better with reliability, frequency, and intrinsic relevance?
For what policy? What's the intention of the policy?
Yeah, let's go with like we are designing.
Because if the policy is maximizing GDP, then yeah, GDP.
Let's go with
GDP would be like the best one.
That's not a policy. That's a goal. But let's go with tax policy. We're designing tax policy. Which alternative metric to GDP that A doesn't super heavily correlate with GDP, B is reliable and frequently available.
Why are these like necessities that
is
disqualify
intrinsically
alternative
relevant?
metrics?
Is intrinsically relevant because then you're
like
going to get the conclusion-
everything is
because
tangentially related to GDP. That's why
I didn't say tangentially. I didn't say
intrinsically real.
Yeah, he's not gonna because he's terrified because he has to let me not interrupt. He has to let me not finish. Okay, so for one, a reason why that's relevant is because if the measure is super duper correlated with GDP, you may say it's suboptimal to still target GDP. You should just target directly the measure, but you're gonna get the result that you should still do it. For example, if doing A is correlated 99% with B and my goal is B, yeah, it would be better if I did B, assuming all else equal, which I don't grant, but still, it's not. You're not going to get that I should not do A. Doing A would still be really, really good. It would be way better than C that doesn't correlate at all with B. Okay, so it's a very simple claim. Because GDP is a readily available, highly reliable because it's really hard to fake, and frequent statistic. And it's super duper
so it's
strongly,
popular
not
is
just
argument.
not just tangentially, but it's
that's
super
what you're resorting to.
not
It's
just
popular.
tangentially, but it's super duper strongly correlated with all the other stuff we might find relevant. We're gonna get the conclusion that it's false that it's gonna be false that we shouldn't target it.
For tax policy, right? That's what your question was. Like for tax policy, what would be my like preferred metric for measuring it?
Which measure do you think? Well, and by measuring it, to be clear, you don't mean measuring like if the policy.
This is your question.
You mean yeah. Well, you seem to have a weird interpretation
go ahead.
of measure. Yeah. Okay. So by measuring tax policy, I mean measuring if the effects were good, not if it happened or not.
Yeah, measuring if like the thing was good for using I don't care.
Which
but like
metric would you rather
or like
use?
Analyzing whether or not tax policy
Which measure
was a
would
success.
you rather
I would probably
alternative.
use like inflation adjusted like
average
tax
income.
No, probably not average income. Again, because that falls into the same thing. For like, if we're
what was
trying
your
to
measure?
understand like the living quality
What was
for
your measure?
people, I would probably prefer something a little bit more specific.
What was your measure?
So like, you're asking me what's
was your metric?
something more
Wait,
specific
you said
to
inflation
tax
adjusted what?
policy,
You said
and I said
inflation
how
adjusted
much
what?
money is coming into the government as a
revenue.
measure of understanding whether or not the tax policy was a success.
You
And then
said
if you
revenue.
want to ask me like, well, that's still a little bit broad. There's things that are associated underneath it, and I would agree with you. I would
that
say
would not
if
be
we're
my
trying to
response.
maximize
Well, let me
the
have it.
well-being of
Let
our
me
citizens
have
in the
it. If you
nation,
think that- if you
we
think
should
that's my response,
focus
let me
on
have
very
it.
specific products that are underneath the umbrella of inflation, because not all products are inflating at the same rate.
Yeah. So for one, don't anticipate my responses. Just ask me what my response is. That was not at all going to be my response. You just wasted a minute. Everyone's time is wasted. That's really unfortunate. Okay, that's the one thing. For two, obviously, targeting revenue is a retarded measure.
Not fun. Wait, if
Obviously,
everyone's time is being wasted, is my time being wasted here too?
The revenue maximizing rate. Well, I think you are wasting your own time by like wasting your time and anticipating my responses instead of asking me directly. Yeah, in a sense, you're wasting your time as well. But either way, but it's not in virtue of me. It's in virtue of you. It's like your skill at you. But either way, as I said, so the revenue maximizing rate is not going to be the efficiency or utility maximizing rate.
Not revenue.
So that's not what you're going to do.
Like just dollars per like inflation adjusted dollars, because like I don't think revenue is like relevant to like government.
What do you think revenue?
Like revenue is specifically for corporations. I don't think it matches like government structure quite as well. Like because governments are the ones that actually
that's
issue
a
their
gigantic
currencies.
blunder. Holy shit, that's a gigantic blunder. He doesn't know what revenue maximizing rate means. He thinks it's like company revenue. He doesn't know it's government revenue. Shit.
That's you're actually talking about revenue maximizing rate instead of revenue.
When
for
we talk
government
about tax
for
policy,
assessing whether or not tax policy was a
when
success.
we talk about revenue and tax policy, we're almost always talking about government revenue from the tax. Yeah.
So not GDP. We're not talking about GDP.
I'm talking about what your metric.
The question he was asking what metrics he was asking what metrics you would prefer. He was asking what metrics you would prefer, and you seem to suggest you said something along the lines of like average and median income, and you said something along the lines of like the amount of money the government gets. Which sample text asked a question about whether that was revenue or not. It seems like you agreed.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's what's like is the standard for if I hit the like nail on the head, then and like the mark for whether or not tax policy is a success is revenue, then sure, that's another point in my favor. It's not GDP.
Yeah. Well, wait. I asked you. Wait. Not from. Let me explain. So I did not say. Yeah.
I'm just trying to like browbeat me over like interrupting you because there are two of you and there's only one of me. So I am going to take the active choice to talk over you because there are two of you who share the exact same position. And like when I point out how dog shit your policy is, how dog shit your own arguments are, then.
And if you can provide an alternative, I'm going to scrutinize it. So you tried to
I gave you the alternative.
And then I scrutinized it. So I asked you scrutinize the questions, which are obviously not going to be about GDP. It's not a concession that this metric is better. It's going to be an assessment of your worldview, which you utterly failed both to track and to answer remotely efficiently. You can talk now.
You didn't ask me anything. You didn't like bring up a new point or anything.
I put you on track. Now you can track the conversation.
Are your personal debates more substantive, non-fun? Sometimes.
Yeah, you didn't bring up a new point.
Typically, I would say.
I pointed.
When you track the conversation, that means you didn't bring up a new point. Thank you very much.
No, I explained to you my previous point, which you completely dodged and then fake laughed.
Yeah, because it supported my point that if you're introducing policy with a specific purpose, GDP is not an adequate replacement for it.
Yeah, so I explained to you, again, I'll repeat it. My point earlier was not about conceding that revenue is a better metric, is if that's your metric, it's less good, it's worse than GDP.
It's less good.
Yeah, it's worse.
It's less good. It's less good.
It's worse. Dude, it's 2 a.m. for me. What the fuck do you want? Yeah.
It's less good.
Yep. I mean,
I think you're actually right when you said I think you're actually right when you said that like everyone's time is being wasted. So I think we hit I think we hit the half-hour mark. I think I'm ready to wrap this up.
I don't think so. I think it's been
like do you wanna give closing statements? I gave my opening statement first. You can give your closing statement.
Yeah, no problem. So in this debate, I've asked him multiple questions. He answered none of them. He pretended to have good predictions. His predictions were, he's going to ask me questions that I'm not going to be able to answer. More or less, that wasn't his phrasing, but that in essence, that's what it was. I asked him multiple questions about his alternative metrics. He cannot track or remotely answer efficiently. I think overall, like by any reasonable assessment of this debate, complete blowout, complete absolute victory. Another sample text W. It's in the bag. I don't think I even need to say anything else. You can go.
Cool. So my peer's position was relatively simple and not really something that I contest because it wasn't really attacking my own position. First, he proposed that GDP is a good targetable outcome because it's intrinsic to all the other policy statistics that you could make. It's not spurious. Second is that, sort of actually the same thing because whenever you're targeting something specific like life expectancy, revenue, disposable income, GDP is also hitting those. So we may as well use GDP. So
I agree.
The third point was that it's hard to fake. And the problem is that in the very next sentence, my peer undermines that it's very hard to fake because very frequently there seems to be a shadow over this conversation that does seem to fake their GDP. companies can sort of report whatever they want when they're not being beholden to the market. And after presenting their three positions, they predicted what this debate would be. So I think it is very curious that in the closing statements, I'm the one who's pretended to have good positions. So I'd like to reiterate what my good positions are, or rather, good predictions. I would like to reiterate what my good positions are. Primarily that if you're advocating for policy, and we talked about the introduction of cars, we talked about the maximizing tax revenue, I don't think GDP is an appropriate replacement. Yeah, I don't contest point one, that it's tangentially related to everything else. But if you've got a policy with a specific outcome, you should target that specific outcome. And the second point has only been proven time and time over again during this debate that GDP is primarily used to browbeat people who are less educated on economics and what GDP means. And primarily to gaslight over how good lower class people's lives are in high income, high productivity
when a company
countries.
or exec is legally required.
Thank you very much, Anfan.
Yeah. Wait, you also, I feel like, I don't know if you want to do this, but if you, you did not like my appearance on Gondam and Gilmore, I feel like I remember you saying some shit about me when I went on there.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Well, do you remember what that was? I feel like you did not like my, I felt like,
I think I wrote it down somewhere.
Well, it was in the server, but,
yeah. Did you read it?
I remember looking at it, and I remember having some feeling that it was very unfair criticism. But
it was definitely what's it called? Parasocial? Yeah.
Parasocial.
I would definitely be like far more like aggressive, like over text. But like, no, I mean, I think you're like, I would prefer you to MAGA. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would prefer people who are voting blue. And you seem like somebody that would be like voting, Gavin Newsom would be voting like AOC over somebody like JD Vance. So like we've like, obviously, you know, we've got minor quibbles, and I think like being a little aggressive or combative is probably the best way to get your points across.
Recessions have become less frequent, non-fawn, and he said, brother, we've had 3 once-in-a-lifetime recessions in 25 years. Never mind, Day Ruin continued watching the G&G and Neoliberal episode. Having pretty buildings isn't worth it because people get jealous they won't live in it. Non-fawn. I feel like I don't even know exactly what I said that could be referring to.
Yeah, that would be a pretty funny thing to say. Anyways, you guys should check out.
I definitely did not say like that exact quote. I don't know. I recall.
No, I don't think you said that exact quote either.
Talking something about zoning in that episode, but I'm not even sure like what that.
Yeah. Chad would have to go back and listen to it. Who did you debate again from their server?
I forget. It was some basically like nobody dude or whatever. I don't think he was.
Be easy on Gondam and Gilmore. They're both nobodies. Come on.
Well, nice. I don't even think he streamed at all. It was some. I think it was like a group or adjacent dude. I don't
know. Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, I mean. Yeah, I liked listening to your debut on the Gondam and Gilmore show. It got me riled up. I got writing. That's sort of like the important part, stimulating their writing muscles.
Okay, well, like what are the 3 once-in-a-lifetime recessions we've had in the last 20? I mean, we had COVID, we had the Great Recession.
COVID was, I mean, yeah. I can sort of like, yeah.
The .com crash. I don't think that would be. I don't think that's.
Yeah, .com probably 2008 would be the 2 big ones. Although, I feel like most of these are like, I don't remember. Like, I couldn't tell you like what the inflation was. Yeah, like, I'm not sure what the unemployment and like inflation was during like .com.
Regardless, I think it's generally, in fairness, there's some dispute about the exact frequency of recessions because it's hard to know exactly how many recessions there were like way back.
Yeah, economics is fake.
I'm familiar.
Yeah.
Okay, well that's definitely not true. But
that's a straw man. I'm sorry.
Sure. Right? There's a paper finding that recessions haven't become that much less frequent, but like there's some element of like a great moderation, quote unquote, that's more generally accepted, even if it's sort of not necessarily frequency of recessions, but like less volatile inflation, unemployment seems like that is the case in many developed countries. And it just seems like overall I don't know, people tend to be doing better, tend to have higher real incomes than they did in the past. We tend to still be on our, 2% long run GDP growth trend.
I'm curious. Hold on. I wanna make sure that I'm actually asking the right question before I make a total fool of myself. Because you actually have like economic training, don't you?
Not really. I will eventually, but not right now.
Oh, that's good. Oh my God. I have a vague memory that demurrage currencies were used during the Great Depression, and I wanted to get your opinion on that.
That what currencies? Sorry.
These are currencies that are intended to stimulate the circulation of productive activity because they lose value intrinsically. So our current economic system is built on maximizing inflation because products that you've got sitting in a warehouse, you can turn a profit on eventually. But the sort of inverse for that, I'm not sure if it was successful, whether or not it brought America out of the Great Recession in any sort of meaningful capacity, is the idea of demurrage currencies.
Well, if you're saying money is, like, inflation is money losing value over time, right? So, like, I don't know, like, we're also not built around maximizing inflation. We have a 2% inflation target. We also weigh unemployment in that, but
I mean, like the idea is you put the money into something and you sort of accumulate it and that returns value. But the idea with demurrage currencies is actually you need to buy products and commodities lest it lose value.
But that happens with inflation anyway, because your money with inflation, you can buy stuff of more value now than you can in the future, assuming like all is equal, obviously. But I think the problem, my understanding is that even during the Great Depression, we still, like, other currencies were still or like private currency was still like regulated. I don't know if it was as strict as it is today or anything, but like you couldn't, the central bank had a more or less monopoly on currency still. I think there might have been some private banks that still had some amount of control over stuff, but we were still on the gold standard or like a gold peg. And I think a big issue, like, you can debate exactly what the proximate cause is, but the big issue in the Great Depression was that money didn't lose value. That you had a lot of deflation. The monetary base contracted quite heavily, and GDP contracted quite heavily.
The Fed did not inject liquidity enough.
Yeah, it didn't, and everyone was trying to hoard money.
Yeah,
like the billionaire.
Yeah, so I don't know, like, how do you spell what the fuck you were saying?
Demurrage. It's sort of like an idea that fascinates me because it is so like foreign to like modern economics. It feels like. Although, like, you're entirely correct when you say that, like, obviously the value of your dollar loses value every day or so due to inflation. But, like, when we consider like proximal goods that you would need for a farm, I guess the idea for like a demurrage currency would be that you get it for your labor and then you use that immediately to buy food instead of trying to stock it up. And that was like the intention, to stimulate demand.
I mean, I have no clue if any of them actually trying to get depression ever. I can see why. So, like, there is a multiplier effect in theory, but it's complicated. But
yeah, I mean,
there's a multiplier effect that's based on consumers' like marginal propensity to consume. So how quick they're willing to spend money, essentially. But that. Part of the issue with the Great Depression is that people probably didn't have a high marginal propensity to consume. They were all trying to hoard a lot of base money. So,
yeah, it's just, and also I would say, like, yeah, now it's a lot more complicated because we're no longer on the gold standard, and we've got all these derivatives, we've got stable coins, we've got cryptocurrency. So, like, the value, like essential value for what your time buys, is a lot more in flux nowadays. I'm not even sure like the theory would like hold up in today, or like whether or not it brought people out of the Great Depression. Anyways, do you have any other questions for me?
I don't. I'm sorry. So I just want to get some clarity. I don't know if it's going to reignite stuff, but like, so do you think, regardless of whether like it's something the government or some institutions should try to maximize, like, do you understand why people care about GDP broadly, or do you think it's just?
No, I completely understand. I feel like the belief is that the anti-GDP crowd hates like refrigeration. But the fact of the matter is, like, refrigeration, antibiotics, like, these are amazing things that increased GDP, but they're not amazing because they increased GDP. Refrigeration is awesome because it allowed us to accumulate food and distribute it.
Sure. What I think is,
what if
so
we
I don't
had
think,
a way? What if we had a
Can you
way
not
where
interrupt, like,
something is
Nonfon on
more
his own stream?
valuable? Nonfon, can I interrupt real quick, with your permission?
I mean, sure, you can.
More
okay,
more
thank you.
valuable than
So
accumulating.
if we had a way where something is
wasted
really
food.
valuable, you value it more. Maybe we had some currency or something. I'm just making something up. Where if something is really valuable, like a refrigerator, you could put a value on it, and then we measure out of all the things we produce, what is the value of them?
Why,
and
well,
then
hold on.
we
Why
divide it by the
all
number
the
of people,
things that you produce?
so we know
Why
the
all
value
the
per
things you
person.
produce when we were talking about refrigeration and food? Like, you're doing the same thing that you did during
we're
the
looking for
debate.
aggregate measures.
We
We're
were
looking for
talking about
aggregate measures.
refrigeration and food, and you're talking about, well, what if we took everything and divided by the number of people?
Yeah, that would be a great indicator.
Of what?
Of prosperity.
Of the value of food or the value of refrigeration?
Is that what I said? Is that what I said?
Well, that's what we were talking about.
Well, I'm talking about a measure. I think the policy should increase societal prosperity, and I think for that we need a measure of societal prosperity, and GDP per capita is a pretty good measure of societal prosperity. Very simple. Everyone understands this, but you. Well, you understand it too.
and I think so. Like, I don't think people, like anti-GDP people, typically have like a actual hatred of certain technologies. I think they don't understand that growth is what is responsible for a lot of the innovations we have or the technology we have, and I don't think they understand that. Or I think one thing, like, you missed with what you said, is preferences like aren't fixed over time. So like, you know, we might care about refrigeration and such, but you know, in the future there might be something people care more about than refrigeration. There might be some new super awesome, amazing technology, and you know, you want to capture that as well. And I think GDP does a decent job at sort of capturing the sort of revealed preferences of people. That's why you want to capture, you know, quote unquote, everything. But that's also just everyone's real income, right? So like,
not the preferred preferences of people, but like how many products are moving through an economy at a given time. That's really what it measures. Because like, well, I felt like you were pretty accurate. Like, the anti-GDP crowd is like anti-growth, but like they're anti-growth broadly. Like, they're not anti-growth specifically in like technology, right? They're not anti-growth in refrigeration, railroads.
So when I'm talking about like revealed preferences and stuff, really, I'm gonna say a term here, and I need people not to freak out. So I think GDP is semi like value neutral, in that when you measure just the you know, some goods and services traded at a given period of time, which I get also, it's, you know, equal to everyone's income, by the way. Like, you can do the expenditure approach the income approach, where you add up everyone's income as opposed to tracking all the goods and services, because you know, all goods and services are bought by or traded by people whose income it is. But you know, you're not sort of assigning something that you value, like refrigeration or like a given technology. You're using people's revealed preferences insofar as they, you know, what the goods and services traded are. Those are what people have revealed preferences for.
I understand what you're getting at, but I feel like the revealed preference is sort of like undermining your point, because I mean, maybe this is like a very specific economic term, revealed preference. But when I think of revealed preference, and you say that GDP is value neutral, not everybody has the same preferences. But I can think that most people value some products more than others, like, you know, food, like healthcare, getting a bone set, like a proper education. These are all things that people value. I don't think it's
basically
worth,
all of those are like
including
included in
it with all the
GDP,
other products.
like the market.
Yes, they're included in it. But if you want policy to like specifically maximize a country's well-being and the citizens of it, you have to look at what they value, not a value neutral.
But like I think GDP. Well, I think so. When I say value neutral, I mean really I should say like with respect to like
currency.
No. So I mean, like it's sort of an aggregate of everyone's revealed preferences coupled together, right? Like it is aggregating what everyone values and the sort of the market price and the quantities for the goods and services they value. It's not like
you could do that with a specific product.
It's not like you. Well, what do you mean?
So
I think, but I think that involves. I think that involves. So that involves like sort of a bureaucrat, an evil bureaucrat, like saying, "Oh, I think refrigeration is really important, so I think we should do a policy that like really helps refrigeration." Like that is someone assigning sort of preferences or the values they think people should have, as opposed to I think GDP is more value neutral in the sense that if you're trying to maximize for GDP, you're sort of letting you're maximizing for the total amount of like output, but you're letting the composition of that be like what people's real preferences are.
This evil bureaucrat, I think your analogy works very well, but the important thing to me would be how does the bureaucrat understand what is valuable for people, and that's why we've got democracy.
But GDP they don't have to.
See, that's what I'm saying. Like you're saying GDP is valuable because it aggregates all the preferences of people together, but within all of these buckets, there's also the variability of the products of these people. So if you're going to aggregate the preferences of people for all these different products, like these is essentially like two products you're crossing against each other to get a value neutral understanding of what prosperity is like, I don't understand why you would take every single product from every single person instead of products that people value from every single person, which is the strength of democracy. We can vote. We can say, well, this is what I value. This is what I want my politicians to do. This is what I want my bureaucrats to do, my evil bureaucrats to do.
Do you know Arrow's impossibility theorem?
I don't. I'm not familiar with it.
Don't worry about it. I'm just trying to dazzle you with like, technical.
Well, it wasn't GDP this time.
Details.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
All right. Actually, I mean, this was fun. Thank you very much for inviting me. I will take off now. Y'all have a good night.
Call into non-fun stream anytime. He's very nice. More nice than me.
Can I? Oh my god. Non-fun, why aren't you at LibCon? What's going on? Are you okay?
I don't know. It's just. I mean, I'll probably go next year. It'd be a lot of money, and I didn't think it would be as cool as it was. My FOMO was triggering now that I see everyone taking selfies together. So.
Yeah, the FOMO is brutal. It's a great opportunity to network and to get your like name out there. Because like if there's professors from universities, you shake their hand, look them in the eye, tell them who you are, what you do. Like that honestly might not get you a direct result, but who knows, You can also just make friends.
True.
Anyways, take care. Hopefully I see you there next year. Well, I mean, I won't be coming, but
Non-fun is the liberal answer to Hassan Piker. That's right. That's right.
That's good. All right. Take care. Bye. See ya.
All right. See ya.
That guy's
incredible.
That guy's retarded. Total victory. That was not even hard. I feel really tired. I was super tired. I was like, fuck.
How
what
fun
if
is
he like
fake liberal?
me with knowledge? But no, that was really easy. I'm glad it happened. I can yeah, it was just like a total blowout. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I think if you have like 3 brain cells at least, you'll understand the high IQ position.
Yeah.
Or you don't even need high.
Yeah,
I should
it's
say high
also-
IQ position. It's standard
No,
IQ position.
It's also
Reasonable
like,
person.
I was making an argument welcoming it. Like, let's say, yeah, you're right. We should just like target the relevant thing. Okay, like let's say we want to increase, like we have tax policy, maybe we should just like target, I don't know, disposable income or something else other than GDP. Well, still, if GDP super duper correlates with it, you're not going to get the conclusion that we shouldn't do it. It's still going to be something we should do, but less than other things, right? Like you can have multiple things you should do, and you should just do the thing you have most reason overall. So yeah, I don't know. I think that's understandable. Either
Also,
way, I don't know.
Non-fun aren't changes in preferences accounted for in marginal efficiency of capital. I mean, yes, I understand. I mean, it's kind of it's like people responding to what they expect the preferences of like consumers to be. But yeah, but like investments included in GDP. So like insofar as there's like shifts in the marginal efficiency of capital, that's included in
And
GDP.
only that, I mean, the price index also takes account of what people buy. So, yeah, if people start buying more phones now, then you're going to get a bigger weight on the phone prices. So that's also a way you adjust for what people want. No, but yeah, I don't know. Really easy, really easy. Wait, give me a second.
Well. Do you know that the Ancom Ultra Runner guy, Caden?
No.
You probably, I feel like you have had to have seen his reels before.
The guy who runs shirtless?
Yeah, he's like a lefty dude.
Okay.
I am going to be
Yeah,
talking to him sometime soon. We haven't set a date yet, but we've been speaking.
Anything but the people I recommend you talk to.
I debated him 2 days ago about what? I think I saw you actually. I didn't watch it, but I saw you in the like VC because I was stalking him in a server.
Okay. What do you think about what do you think about the miracle of Our Lady of Fatima?
Are you still reading Christian Miracle Sloth?
Yeah, a little bit. A little bit. No, I really don't care about the miracle case. It's just like
Wait, is he?
like
I feel like
no matter
I've
how
heard him
much I
say he's
read
a
into it,
utilitarian.
just the probability that I'm just like either missing something or like all the other skeptical explanations go through, at least somewhat, it's just like above the intrinsic super improbability of Catholicism. It's just like so bad. But yeah, I don't know if that's a cope. I don't know if I'm hardening my heart. I don't know. Yeah, but I am less confident of fine tuning as an argument.
Well, what made you update on that? Like,
But yeah, I'm starting to synth mostly, and like there may be problems with like some of the factors in the Bayesian formulation. I'm not sure though. I think they still go through. I mean, I still think it's a good argument. So the thing we were talking about is Bayes' theorem, right? Probability of A given B, probability of B given A equals the probability of A divided by the probability of B, right? Now there's a question: how do you calculate the probability of B? So in this case, it's the probability of fine-tuning given theism. There's a probability. The probability of theism given fine-tuning is the probability of fine-tuning given theism times the probability of theism divided by the probability of fine-tuning. Right now, probability of theism given fine-tuning is the probability of fine-tuning given theism times the probability of theism divided by the probability of fine-tuning. Am I saying this right? I think I am. Yeah.
sounds right. I'm locked in on Peggle.
Yeah. So you're dividing by the probability of fine-tuning. Now we might ask, okay, how do you calculate that? And that there's a problem because the constants are essentially unbounded. They can have whichever value from 0 to infinity.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's just like no uniform distribution over numbers from 0 to infinity, right? Because otherwise, if it's above 0, then the sum is more than 1 because it's from 0 to infinity. You're just multiplying some non-zero thing by infinity. That's going to get you infinity. And if it's 0, then it's not going to sum to 1 as well. It's going to sum to 0, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's 0 times infinity, 0.
I thought it was.
Either way.
I thought most of them were bounded because, like, most of the fine-tuning stuff I've heard or whatever, at least from, I don't know, maybe there are people updated this or whatever, but it's like, 10 to the 55 possibilities for these constants, but it's not literally infinite.
Right. So wait, let me kill this bug real quick. Yeah. So wait. God, I think it's dead. Either way, yeah. So that's mostly from Luke Barnes. If you're talking about the 10 to the 136 or something. But
sorry, I just called you Peggle Renald. What's up, Renald?
By formulating it in terms of Planck constants as units, and then you don't get a uniform thing. Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I think his response works. But either way, my case is twofold. One, you know what awesome theistic evidence is?
Nope.
So you'll often talk to like new atheists or something, and they'll tell you like bad arguments against fine tuning, like, oh, you only have one universe that you observe, so you cannot have a prior or something, right? Something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And awesome theistic evidence is basically like, what if we, like, let's say we looked at the constants, and once we convert them to binary or something, they all spell out like the entire Gospel of John or something. Or like, what if we look at the way matter was like sorted out like a second after the Big Bang? Or something like that, right? Like maybe not matter, maybe like, I don't know, the way something was distributed, and it spells out like made by God with love, right?
Yeah.
Now we only observed one Big Bang, we only observed one set of constants, but that should really surprise us and make us think God is behind this stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so that's basically the thing. The point of awesome theistic evidence is like, hey, this is like a dream scenario, and if it happened, we all know it would be evidence, but your theory doesn't allow it to be evidence, which is like a crazy bullet bite. Okay, so it's gonna become way too stubborn. So I was thinking maybe we can design awesome theistic evidence where like we have some awesome theistic evidence, even though the range is unbounded or something, right? And then we were quibbling about that, whatever. But then I think the still the so since it made me think that maybe that's not possible to have awesome theistic evidence there that isn't bounded. Don't worry about it. The math is whatever. but either way, I just think the argument has to go through because every time you estimate constants in science, you still have to have a prior over them before you would do the estimation. And if you don't, then you cannot apply Bayes formula, so Bayes theorem, so you cannot even have a posterior. You know what I'm saying? You following? Make sense?
No.
Like if let's say I have some set of observations. I want to measure the cosmological constant. I have a bunch of measurements I do of space. And then I plot them or whatever, I do the calculations, and now I want to know the probability of the cosmological constant being this given my observation.
Sure.
Well, that's just going to be the probability of the observation given the constants times the probability of the constant divided by the probability of my observation. But here it is again, the probability of the constant, the prior probability of the constant. That's what we just said we cannot calculate. Well, so if we cannot calculate it for fine tuning and we cannot use it, then we cannot make any inference about any measurement of any constant, right? Which is absurd, right? That's obviously absurd. So Synth's response was, well, whatever prior we might end up having, we just have so much evidence for the cosmological constant being the way it is that no matter what prior we end up having, it will cancel out.
Yeah, sure.
But I'm not comfortable with that because that sounds like saying, oh, the prior over the priors is justified. But then if you just integrate that, if you do the math, that's just going to entail that you do have a prior. So then if you do have a prior, then we can just apply it in the fine-tuning case. Whatever. Either way, I'm not convinced this response goes through. That's one thing. The other thing is, even if the argument is good, I mean, just like God has so many flaws. Why does the universe look the way it is? There's just no good explanation, dude. What the fuck? Yeah, it's real bad. It's real. Do you know about the multiverse theodicy?
I don't. I mean, I might be vaguely familiar with it because I'm like familiar, with like the anthropic argument and a bunch of the other like multiverse argument things people make, but I don't recognize the name or anything.
So it's my favorite theodicy, and unfortunately, I've been convinced that it fails. But I think it's the best one. I think people should really think about it a lot more. It's just, at least get to know. So you have the problem, people, and you're fine with me wasting your time. There's no video you want to watch or something, right?
Yeah, not until the Trump speech, I guess.
Oh, there's Trump speech. Okay. He's always late either way. Okay. So the problem of evil is like, there's all this evil. A lot of it is gratuitous. A lot of it's just like achieves no good. Just like completely useless evil. Why is it there? So the theodicy, the multiverse theodicy, is basically this. Okay, think for a second that you're God, and you're faced with the ability to create a universe.
Yeah. Wait, it's just the you would create every universe as like net good.
Yeah. Yes.
Like yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's really powerful. The problem with it is that it collapses induction, because that just means there are like.
It would mean there are
so
universes. Well, yeah.
Yeah, well, it's just like I have all my observations, right? Like I was born here. This is my the name of my parents. This is what my dog looks like. Whatever, all the background knowledge I have. Well, if the multiverse of the Odyssey is true, then there exist infinitely many other agents with the exact same background knowledge. So I may be all of them for all I know, but every one of them lives in a universe that might like momentarily
Yeah.
have induction collapse, right? Like maybe like even if 20% of them, that's way too high, right? And so I cannot be confident of induction anymore, which is crazy. Obviously, that's crazy. Right? Because in a universe where induction momentarily breaks, it's still going to be net positive. God should create it. The only response out of this is, well, God will not allow his creations to live in a universe without induction.
Yeah, I would
Because
think
then they're not
that'd
gonna
be
able to
it'd just be like, well, God can't, he wouldn't
let
break the rules
you.
of logic or anything. Like it'd be, yeah.
Well, it's not breaking the rules of logic. It's more like epistemology.
or-
Like it's epistemically necessary, but
Yeah,
it's not logically necessary. That yeah, but either way. So there are two things I think. So one that's a plausible defense. I think it's not like immediately false, but there are two problems with it. One is just think of all the good you're missing out by not creating these universes only to keep induction. I mean, is it really that good? I don't think so. I don't think so. If I was God, I would do that. I would do that. So, no, I don't think so. The other thing is, okay, let's say you are God, and you're now okay. Now you have to discriminate which universes you create and which ones you don't, while still keeping in mind that you need to create induction. The obvious answer is you're going to create the best ones of the best ones, the creme de la creme. But our universe doesn't seem like the creme de la creme. It might be net positive. That's like already not clear. It's not the best of the best. So it's just like if you're creating a universe that still maintains induction and has as many good universes as possible in it, I would just think don't include this one. It's not worth it. And I'm very confident that's true.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. So I've been thinking a lot about that. There are other things about it that are like weird, right? Like you might want to say God cannot create the same universe twice, but then, like given that He created our universe, that means He cannot like replicate it and then move a speck of dust a little to the left, because that universe already exists, so He cannot create it twice. That'd be stupid, right? Either way, I don't know. A bunch of things. Really interesting. I like philosophy, but I don't like that people waste time on philosophy. But I waste time on philosophy, so it's like really weird. And the thing about it is, philosophy is awesome, but you need to be smart to do it, and we need smart people in other places. Okay, we need them as doctors and lawyers. Okay, what the fuck? What the fuck? So it's just like a really good self-fulfilling thing. It's a good thing for self-fulfillment, but it's just. Yeah, be utilitarian for a moment. Yeah, I don't know. You get it.
Yeah.
You get it. You're a brother.
Bro, I have on my fucking bullshit school, I have an ethics class next semester in person. Right now, I have the same teacher in like an intro to philosophy course, and it's all just like a bunch of like basic stuff. I don't know, it's all just like cringe stuff or whatever. But like my teacher is like he's literally like fucking Ryan Malay, bro. Like he's some like natural law theorist, crazy dude, and he's gonna piss me the fuck off. In his like lecture notes for one of the topics, like he said like needless to say, Peter Singer's ideas are moronic, asinine, and stupid.
Good argument.
No such obligation exists to give to people, and if it did, it would just serve to make everyone poor. And it's like, oh my god, fucking kill me.
I didn't fucking realize that if everyone donated everything, they'd be poorer. Oh my god. Well, by being poor, you mean have less income disposable? I mean, true, but what about the people being donated in jail? No, yeah, this guy's evil, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah. Well, at least he's not going to discriminate in grades, right? Like if you defend utilitarianism or something, he's not going to be like, you gave the wrong answer.
Yeah, I don't think he will, but there might be, I don't know how it's going to be structured or whatever. There might be like in class discussions, and it's gonna trigger me knowing his beliefs, okay, know what I'm saying. Or like if there's lectures and like he's just saying like false things about Peter Singer, it's just going to trigger the fuck out of me.
Yeah. By the way, is LibCon the same as GlobeCon? Is that the same thing?
Yeah. I believe so. I was confused too. It's just called LibCon, but I've seen a lot of people, call it GlobeCon.
I guess it may be like two events that are like next to each other or something. Like, see, one of them seems to be organized by CNL. I don't know, I'm not sure about the other one.
Counterpoint: defending consequentialism should get you failed from a normative ethics course. This is true. It's too woke.
But yeah.
True.
What else do I want to yap about? What do you think about data centers? Okay, so here, look, AI, scary technology, but fuck, dude, the anti-data center people are so dumb.
Did you see the Moist Critical video? I didn't watch the full thing,
Yeah,
but I saw
bro, it's
a few
so
clips of it on
true. I
Twitter,
could
bro, and
not.
I did.
I tried watching it. It's so bad.
Dude, him being like, it seems like people are getting sick more often, and maybe this is related to data center. And it's like I don't understand
It's
how
legit,
someone
like,
thinks that
anti-vaxxer
way.
logic.
Even
Yeah, it's anti-vaxxer logic. Not only is it false, even if it was true, like let's say we're getting sicker, it's because of data centers. You
I know.
fucking moron. Yeah, I don't know. You deserve to get something by Platinum. Yeah, I don't know. It's just like so dumb, so dumb. What do we think about Platinum? Rest in peace.
we already
Peace
talked
be
about
upon him.
Plattner. It seems like cringe dude.
Oh yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Peace be upon him. Yeah, another victim of the woke mob. The woke mob. Yeah, I agree. Okay. Ugh. I'm gonna go to sleep. I enjoyed this total sample text victory. Absolutely crushed this guy. Total retard.
True.
Abysmal showing. He started with the bad etiquette. He started with like incessantly interrupting me. It was only fair that I returned the favor. Okay. Anything else? Anything else? No. Have fun. Bye.
All right. I'll see ya. I appreciate it.
Wait, I was just gonna say, I do think one of the most underrated arguments for GDP is that it's like really robust. Like you can calculate it like 3 different ways. There's like the expenditure way, that's the one you learn in macro. There's like the income approach and the value added approach, which are kind of similar but not really. And yeah, they're all like 3 basically independent ways to calculate GDP that are like really hard to fake. So yeah, this is like even if you think life expectancy is better, it's less frequent and easier to fake. So, you know, what are we doing? Yeah. Yep, I think total victory. Yep. Yep. Oh, by the way, I want to clarify. I think a government that would just say, "Oh, we're just maximizing GDP," would have a better, more desirable society than whatever the fuck this guy thinks you should target. So I just want to say that. I want to put that out there. So I would have been happy to defend that the maximalist straw man, but whatever. That's too high level. Okay, for real now.
Yeah.
Bye.
All right. See ya. God, I can't. Edge is fucking doing the thing again. Oh my god. It better. If I just restart the browser, please, God, fix it. I love Microsoft. I love Microsoft. My Windows key isn't working. Oh, did not fix it. Okay, cool. I'm gonna have to live with not being able to move my tabs around. Didn't need to do that anyway. Didn't want to do that. Did I? Did I need to do that? Fuck. Oh my god, the windows won't even snap properly. Are you kidding me? Okay, new window. And then another. New window. Wait, maybe I know what's causing it.
No, I'm fine.
Mhm.
Can I send you something, but you won't open it on screen?
But are Republicans?
Sure.
This is how I feel lately. No, that's a joke. That's a joke. Okay. Bye. I just think it's a funny video. Okay.
Okay. Alright, does this fix it? Fuck off. Why? Kill me. Okay, back to Michael Slop.
We actually like crime whenever it's rich people. So they defunded the IRS. They fired half the staff. That's one thing that I would say the Democrats did better. Let's talk about another thing. The Democrats were going after big banks that were defrauding consumers. Wells Fargo was charging fake fees on people's checking accounts that were not listed in the contract. They were just charging fake fees. Well, what did the Biden administration did? They went after Wells Fargo and they fined them. They said, hey, you have to go pay your consumers back all the money you stole. What did the Trump administration do on day one? They fired everybody from the agency that did that move, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. The biggest
Didn't they have to reinstate? I could be wrong. Didn't they have to reinstate it too? Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. For case. Reinstatement. I think they had to pay people like a bunch of fucking back pay and shit. I don't even think it actually what Trump wanted to do because it was illegal. But it could have been overruled. Order to reinstate its employees and resume its operations. I'm not sure what exactly you're referencing, but I think you're talking about talking to each other. It's fine. Not terminate any CFPB employee except for cause related to an individual employee, which I think this post the Slaughter case, some of this might not actually matter anymore. I don't know if did the Supreme Court ever rule on it. There are limitations on how Congress appropriates money. Nothing about the... Oh, wait. No, I remember this. Yeah. Nothing about the CFPB's fund mechanism violates limitations. I remember it did go to the Supreme Court. So they didn't even actually get their way.
Consumer Financial Protection Agency in the United States. They fired every single individual they could. That's one thing I'd say they should have done differently. We can go down the list. You have anything to say about those two?
You know, I remember you brought that up in the last debate when I Googled you real quick. And I was thinking, man, I should have a good answer for that if he brings it up. Oh, man, he probably won't bring it up again. He did.
I absolutely did.
So
Should have used Grok. Should have used Grok.
Oh, I don't know. I have no idea. I don't have all the information in front of me. I think generally speaking, I think lower taxes are generally good. I think putting more money in American people's pocket is good.
Do you think fraud is bad?
I do think fraud.
Which is like, you know, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau might be, I'm not familiar with everything it's done okay. Plausibly, there are cases where it's done some bad things. I don't know. But like, literally, it like returns money to consumers from like fraud cases. Like, it literally puts money in people's pockets. I gotta go on my, to an extent, my civil service maxing journey arc. I read some of the machinery government. Apparently not this one. Oops. And some of the I think conceptually a lot of stuff makes sense and I like it. Some of it is like you can tell like the arguments about healthcare kind of like I don't know, like standard kind of slop lib stuff. Or it's not slop, like is it? Because like conceptually it makes sense to talk about market failures and such. And then there's also might be in here. Fuck. I've read some of this as well, but the welfare status piggy bank. There's another one. It's like written partly by the guy who wrote The Big Short. I Try like who is government or something. Yeah, who is government? I haven't read any of this yet. I don't know. I think like I have a lot of I don't know if intuition is the right word, but like it strikes me as quite good to have institutional arrangements where there are a lot of civil servants who are just doing kind of the semi-value neutral like cost benefit analyses and can only be fired for cause or whatever. Sometimes that rubs up against my regulatory capture evil pro-neoliberal anti-government beliefs, but it just seems like ideally something you would have. I don't know. I've not done the reading on unitary executive theory stuff, but certainly if I was in charge of the Constitution, I think I would want Congress to be able to have for-cause requirements for a lot of things.
Do you think fraudsters should be held accountable?
I do think fraud should be held
accountable. Do you think you should pardon fraudsters?
In
exchange for money? I know you work for the Republicans, Woodrow, and that's your career, and you got to pay your bills. But let's be honest right now. These people you work for.
I mean, Micah, I don't think literally works for the Democrats. He has at some points, or he kind of has. I believe he's been like a I think it was an elected position, but like Southern Texas Democrats something leader or something, like internal to the party. But he obviously. He DNC posts on Twitter so much, bro. It's so bad.
Or bad people. Trump has pardoned 88 fraudsters. Can you defend that? Can you look us in the eyes and say, yes, this party that I work for, this president that I work for, I support him pardoning fraudsters? Can you stand on that? Can you stand on business?
I mean, are you saying that Democrats?
No, it's about Democrats.
Yeah,
do you support pardoning fraudsters, Woodrow? Is it a good idea?
I mean, like, if we're, one, like...
No?
No, I mean, like, vacuum, sure, but I don't have all, look.
The 88?
Yeah.
The guy who gave, we have the guy that was an owner of Binance. They did $1 billion deal with the Trump administration, then he gets a pardon. We have Mitchell, the guy who gave $1 million to Trump, then he gets a pardon. Don't you see the quid pro quo there? I mean, I'm telling you these stories. Do you not believe me? Have you not heard about them? Do you really look at all?
This guy's not even smart enough to say Hunter Biden. He's not gonna do it. Or maybe he's too smart to say Hunter Biden.
88 of these fraudsters, and you say, you know what, every single one of them, they were just targeted. These poor billionaires, they were targeted by Biden. Do you really believe that? You're a smart guy, Woodrow.
I'm actually not familiar with those, to be honest.
None of them.
Yeah.
Oh my God, bro! I thought I was gonna. Typically, what I hear is some combination of, well, what about Hunter Biden? And well, but you can't actually prove any of those things. This is just speculation. This is just liberal nonsense. What about all the Russiagate stuff? That was all fake. But
you're not reading the.
But I also,
news,
the pardon power has existed since our country's founding. You say constitutional.
Bro.
Yeah, I think it's been abused probably by both parties,
including Trump. Can you say Trump has abused his pardon power? Can you say that to us right now? You can. No. You can't, right? You can't say it. I get. I understand your job. You can't say it because you'll lose your job. But it's the truth, Woodrow. It's the truth. This president is abusing his power. But you can't say it.
Pandora's box has been opened. If your side's going to do it, we'd be stupid not to do it. So
even radical left-wing paper The Nation says Russiagate. Yeah, Russiagate was fake.
Let's talk about numbers. Do you know how much restitution, that stolen money, was forgiven by Biden?
I don't know the answer to that question.
700,000. 700,000 restitution was forgiven by Biden for a pardon that widely was agreed, left and right. They said, actually, this was not a real good prosecution, right?
Okay, so you're admitting that he had a bad one, too?
No, I'm saying left and right people agreed, actually, this prosecution wasn't a good one. It's like actually appropriate application of pardon power. It wasn't a partisan pardon, right? Some pardons are fine. Trump is forgiven. This is 700,000 for Biden. For Trump, what is it? 1.2 billion. You can't do both sides are the same. One's 700,000, one's 1.2 billion. There's a couple zeros difference between those two, right, Woodrow?
Sure.
It's not the same. And
sure.
I think this is the issue with Republicans.
Maybe.
You can't defend Trump, so they want to say, well, look, the Democrats are just as bad as us. But there's literally not a single thing you can point to. I invite you to right now, where Democrats are as outrageous as Republicans. Can you point to one thing? One example of corruption, just please.
I'm sorry, so can you restate your question?
Illegal immigrants voting. God, this guy's he's too smart to say it. He's too smart to say it.
Question?
One example of corruption that is as extreme, as crazy, as indefensible as Trump's corruption on a daily basis.
Okay.
Just one.
Like on a daily basis? Like you think Trump's doing corrupt stuff on a daily basis?
Oh my God! Yeah, well, I mean, actually, it's a multi-hour basis.
He goes to the, he gets a glass of water and it's corrupt. Like,
yeah, I mean, do you know how many trades? The insider trading's on a daily basis, Woodrow. I mean, he's doing insider trading 24/7. He has the best performing stock market portfolio of all time. For some reason, he becomes a master stock trader the moment he becomes president.
He's made like Not only more than Nancy Pelosi and her husband, but like all congressmen combined.
For some reason, he starts selling stocks right before he announces the tariffs. That's really interesting. That's really interesting. It's for some reason his children invested tens of millions of dollars in defense contractors the day before the Iran war was declared. That's an interesting coincidence, Woodrow.
And therefore, isn't Donald Trump Jr. on a defense contractor board? It could be one of the other sons. Donald Trump Jr. Defense company. He's a partner in yeah. Oh, and Eric Trump maybe. There's a portfolio. I thought one of them was literally on one of the boards for a company that is like currently getting defense contracts. We got the arrows. We got the arrows. Well,
Isn't that interesting? Did Hunter Biden do that? What did Hunter Biden do in comparison to that?
You're saying Hunter Biden didn't do anything wrong? Is that?
Oh, he sold paintings.
that's exactly what Mike has said. That's exactly what he said. Yes. Why did Mike even? Why did he even offer that? Why did he even offer that?
Were too expensive. He sold his paintings.
This guy, I don't even know if the Republican dude has any knowledge about the Hunter Biden stuff.
For $200. They were overpriced. That's the corruption scandal that Fox News talked about for around like half my life at this point. Right. This is what they talked about. Meanwhile, we can point to his kids, Trump's kids. They built their entire fortune on daddy's name and daddy's access. We have Trump's son is literally selling access to the presidential club where you can convert money into political influence. You pay him money, and in exchange, you can hang out with the Trump administration's cabinet. Isn't that corrupt? Do you think Americans should be able to buy political access in this country, Woodrow?
I mean, I would say that our government should be accountable to our people.
Yeah, it should be able to buy political access.
But like, you're acting like this is a Republican problem.
Name a Democrat who's done it. Every Democrat?
Yeah, I mean, it's just
Hunter Biden's club. You have a presidential club. Did that happen? It didn't happen. So, but you think it's wrong, right?
I mean, what do I think is wrong?
Do you think it's bad that Trump's son is selling access to the president, to the high-up cabinet officials? People can exchange their money for political influence. Can you look us in the eye and just tell us the most common sense thing, the thing that we all know that is wrong?
Oh yeah, I just got a text from this like Democratic operative fucking company that got my number. Like I say, donated to someone once or whatever. I saw that electricity bills have spiked over $100 since 2020. I've been keeping a thermostat on a little higher than I want. Have you noticed your bills going up? A lot, B some, C slightly, D not really, E don't pay utilities. Have y'all heard of the lizard man constant? I low key lizard man constant these people whenever I get the opportunity. I ignore a lot of their text, but I think I'm feeling pretty lizard man today. Even not really is too nice, especially because it's heavy. Have you noticed? There was like one time they asked like, what do you think it would take to bring down prices? And I was like, a recession. That was Larry Summers posting. Oh yeah, I'm sick of robots, Jared. When I need help, I want to talk to a human about it. Feels like big companies are taking advantage of our wallets. Agree? A, yes, B, no. I put B. I love these people.
Wrong. You cannot, right? Well, I suspect you can.
Well,
you can't concede.
I would have to just
accept are there other price increases? They just text me, right? Are there other price increases you're noticing that are impacting your family? OnlyFans subscriptions. How do you spell subscriptions? Fuck. There we go.
Everything you're telling me is true.
Well, you'd have to be paying attention to the news every single day. You don't think it's real? Does the presidential club not exist?
Thanks so much for your response. It's an auto reply, but I really appreciate hearing from you about these issues.
I'm just not familiar.
Thank God you finally stopped talking to him.
You're not familiar? Yeah.
A little bit ago.
Read, Woodrow?
Quite a while ago.
Rock. Apparently, I haven't heard about
my Substacks from 5 years ago, but not reading the news about your president. My theory is that because you are a Republican operative, you work in the space, I understand how this works, you will not concede that anything Trump has done is wrong.
Why do you understand how it works, Micah? Why do you understand how it works?
You literally cannot, because it's your job. Okay, well, unfortunately for you, you agreed to this debate and you have to defend this president. And you have
Can you debate Drew Pavlu about what?
that I'm wrong. So can you condemn a single thing Trump has done? Can you acknowledge one element of corruption that we all are aware of? Even Trump supporters are aware of. Can you list one thing and say, you know what, Mr. President, you got that one wrong? Can you do that?
I would say that I wish the tax cuts went further. I mean,
that's the corruption.
Yeah.
He's right now about immigration and stuff. I mean, like, I just think it would fall into the type of conversation that's just kind of like, I don't know, kind of either boring or it's going to be stuff he's already all heard from Nicholas Decker and such. I don't know if it would be peak entertainment. I don't think it would be. It'd be like, there's like some conversations where like it's fun when I like talk to like TikTok people or like random dipshits and you like dunk on them or whatever and you hear them say some new stupid absurd thing. I don't think Drew would do that. But I also don't think it's going to be, no offense, Drew, like some intellectual high IQ conversation or whatever. Like it's not going to be something where I'm like, look at a study and he's like, well, it's not using national skill sets or it's not using a spatial model because, you know, I don't really care about the spatial effects. I care about the effects of the, you know, within skill cells. And it's like, you know, it's not going to be that. It's also not going to be like him saying dumb shit. I don't know. How about not using studies? But then that'd just be, well, what am I supposed to do then? Just use intuitions. That's just like stupid.
You know,
Mr. Trump, you should have done a bigger tax cut for billionaires.
You know,
can you condemn one?
No, I mean, you said you support a flat tax. Let's get a flat tax.
Now we're talking about flat taxes.
Yeah.
Can you condemn a single corrupt act by this
was supposed to be a debate about the economic policies.
Okay,
of
let's talk
President
about
Trump.
more economic
And you
policy.
turn into like, hey, he's corrupt, and you want me to defend these cases that I'm not familiar
I want you to
with.
answer a very straightforward question so
Yeah.
we know that you're a genuine actor. Yeah. We just want to know that you're a genuine
I don't
actor.
have cable.
I want to know that you're...
Okay, too much from the crowd. I appreciate that.
I want to know that you're a genuine actor who speaks his mind instead of the Trump administration's mind. I want to know that you're going to stand on business and say what you genuinely believe, what you know. Because I believe you, like many of these Republican operatives, like these people in this administration, they know this is wrong. They know Trump's doing wrong things. They know that he's being corrupt and he's being self-dealing. Everybody knows it. But because they're paid to say something different, they don't say the truth. And I'm asking you to be courageous enough to say the truth.
I think this is, you know, I came here not really prepared to make a debate, but as much as I could to talk about the economic policy of the administration.
Really?
He asked me to defend him on cases that I'm not familiar with. You're going to law school. You know, you can't. What?
Do you know any corruption instances of the Trump administration? You ever heard about them in any of them? Not a single. What are you doing? You're not paying attention to the accusations?
I mean, like, if you know, it's funny because this just feels like a gotcha thing because I'm not prepared to talk about those things because that's not what I was told this debate was. I was told about this debate 2 hours ago.
Okay, let's talk about
no, I mean, like you're going to law school and you couldn't if you went before a judge to make arguments before a judge, you can't just expect.
But you support Trump.
I do.
You support him.
Yeah.
You work for Republicans.
Yeah, I don't work
and
for
you
him.
can't defend his character. You can't. Like, Trump has been being accused of being corrupt for 10 years. You've said, I don't care about any of these allegations of corruption. I like him. People should vote for him. You didn't say that.
No, I did not
so
say
you
that.
do care about the allegations, but you don't know anything about him, and you actually support Trump anyway. Is that your position?
Well, I haven't heard of a lot of things you're saying.
So you
maybe,
haven't heard about
maybe, and it's funny because I think everyone's in a little bit of a bubble, and maybe I'm in one. But
Are you concerned about
Oh, really?
You're like, oh, maybe I'm wrong to support this guy.
Look,
88 fraudsters. Oh, God, I didn't even hear about that.
You know, it's the Trump phenomenon's interesting because there's been so much stuff thrown against him, and a lot of it's turned out to be bullshit.
Oh, a lot of it's
Oh, really? Oh, there we go. Finally, we got one of the 3 standard responses.
Thing where when you're constantly attacking for all these little things.
So true. It's little things,
Yeah.
pardoning fraudsters.
Well, look, no, I mean, like,
accepting a
there
guitar
may
jet that's worth over $1 billion and giving it to your own presidential library. It's just a small guitar jet, okay? It's just a small jet. I mean, so what you're going to come in here and say, because this is what you're implying, all these allegations against Trump are bullshit. Is that your view? If that's your view, just say it.
What I was saying is that I would have to do some research because some of these things you're telling me are the first time I've ever heard of.
So you're concerned, though?
Can we get Grok on this?
Concerned?
I mean,
you find it concerning, right? You're not confident that I'm wrong, and you never heard about it before, so you might say, wow, this is a big problem. If this is true, if what I'm saying is true, will you stop supporting Trump? Seriously.
No, because Democrats, they've also done bad things.
Yes, I mean, if Trump really is a corrupt piece of shit, right, I'm not going to support him, right?
I mean, I could turn that question around on you. Could you say, oh, hey, would you support, whoever your favorite Democrat is if they did all these things?
But I can defend them because I have a position and I know those allegations are false.
Okay. And I don't know if they're true or false or not.
So
I'm hearing them for the first time.
Okay.
That's why he asked if.
Comfortable with. Let's talk about whether the war in Iran was a good economic decision or not, because this is an economic decision. We spent $100 billion. Some estimates say the cost in the long run is going to be $1 trillion. Okay.
I know someone that literally runs a TikTok account entirely based on a bra size. I mean, not surprising.
For that amount of money, we could send every American $4 or $5 grand.
That's what I would do if you know what, I could do it with AI nowadays, I bet.
As an individual check. Okay? Americans have died. Over 50,000 Iranians have died. It's between 50 and 80,000 as a result of this war. Their enriched uranium is where? Do you know where their enriched uranium is? You don't know?
I don't.
It's still in Iran. Where was it before the war started? In the exact same location, still in Iran. So this war has achieved what? Nothing. It's achieved nothing other than wasting our money and raising our gas prices. Do you think this war in Iran was a good economic decision?
I mean, I think that Iran was like the #1 sponsor of
So you have heard about this one?
Yeah, a little.
Oh my God.
Right.
Yeah,
I'm happy to hear about that.
There's something going on over there, right? And I think that I know some folks in the national security apparatus, and Iran was sponsoring terrorists and killing Americans all across the globe.
And weapons of mass destruction as well, right? They had a weapon of mass destruction.
Yeah, and look,
we've been doing the same talking points for 25 years, bro. Weapons of mass destruction, sponsors.
I want to see the account. Literally every post is about her. I mean, you think I'm going to say no?
Terrorism. You would think that by now we'd realize, oh my God, it's the Iraq playbook over and over again. I mean, how many words?
Dude, my Twitter, by the way, is so full of women holding books above their fucking pussy. It's like every other post is some woman doing the trend. Regardless, anyways.
In the Middle East that last.
Not because I would ever like them or reply to them or anything. It's just some weird thing happening there.
Over terrorism and weapons of mass destruction with countries that start with IRA do we have to go through before we realize that this playbook is bullshit? I thought your president ran on being the pro-peace president. Didn't he run on that?
He did run on that.
You heard about that.
And we haven't put any boots on the ground.
Well, actually, we did put boots on the ground.
No.
We did put boots on the ground to recover the American aircraft and the soldiers which were shot down in Iran. We did put boots on the ground.
Okay.
And the president has constantly entertained putting boots on the ground in Karg Island. So what's that about? Why is he moving troops to the Middle East if we're not interested in putting troops?
Yo, you DM'd it to me. You didn't even send it in stream chat. Great.
So what's your question? I'm just.
Well, so your claim.
Okay, bro. I don't care. Are they going to talk about someone not around?
I mean, the recessions were under Republican deficit. They start a war and then get office. They do a few. I wouldn't. Last recession that was caused under a Democrat.
Oh no, we're doing recession memes.
He doesn't know. He doesn't. Jimmy Carter.
Okay.
You know how long ago that was?
How long? Yeah,
7 out of the 8 last recessions were under Republicans.
Right. Okay. I mean,
also influences my passion.
You know, the last one, 2007, 2008, George Bush. Your party has a bad record on this. I think my analysis is right. What's been wrong about this analysis?
Okay, so let's just go through all this. So you're saying those are the only, there's never been a recession under Biden. There's never been.
There was not a recession under Biden.
No.
In fact, no.
Okay. I mean, learn something new every day.
There wasn't a recession.
I mean, there literally wasn't. So I don't know.
Biden. No.
A lot of other better responses, like maybe the president is not primarily in control of whether or not we have a recession.
I mean, it's like your party, and this is the thing about MAGA. This is what annoys me, and I think it annoys many Americans that voted for this president. They were promised something different. They were promised a Republican Party that actually puts Americans first and that isn't interventionist and that actually fights against the corrupt political system. And
Yeah.
His anti-establishment narrative.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, one, I mean, like I said, I obviously you don't agree. I think the tax cuts were good, and I think
that's
they were
anti-establishment.
Yeah. Well, I think
you really stuck it to McConnell with that one. I mean, come on, Whitrow.
And look, we've secured our border. I mean, that was a large mandate we had.
Oh, there, yay! A second thing he supports.
Supported border security. This has been their position for 25 years.
Did you watch the Zuckman debate? I don't want to watch the Zuckman debate right now.
I mean, there's definitely been some Republicans who are not great on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to move towards our last thoughts. Do you guys have any final wrapping thoughts? Any questions, Woodrow or Micah, that you think your opponent hasn't answered that you're satisfied with?
I mean, I have to say the corruption one. I mean, Woodrow, my theory is that you cannot condemn a single corrupt act of this administration or a serious policy.
Shouldn't watch. You want to watch this? Well, I might. I think I wanna. I don't know what I want to do. Would I even put the Zuckman debate? I think it's still. I don't know if I added it to the thing. Jumping the knives. There's a stall until then, bro. I think I'm gonna have more fun watching it on my own. I think y'all will have more fun watching it on your own. There's people. I don't know if you can still hear the people over. But I could watch it. It's an hour minute in 6 minutes.
Welcome to the Restless Politics, leading with me, Roy Stewart,
and me, Alice Campbell. Now, a lot of our listeners.
I recognize this dude. I feel like, but I don't know why.
Welcome to the Restless Politics, leading with me, Roy Stewart.
Rory Stewart. Who's this dude?
And me, Alice Campbell.
He's a Tory. Evil.
Well, now, a lot of our listeners and viewers seem to like it when we have left-wing economists with big ideas on leading. We've had Kate Raworth, Yanis Varoufakis, and Gary Stevenson, who ever since has been nagging us to get on our guest today.
Oh boy.
He's the professor at Berkeley in the Paris School of Economics.
They've upgraded from Gary Stevenson to Gabriel Zuckman. Huge.
Best known for his work on exposing tax havens, and also for a proposal for a wealth tax, or as he prefers to call it, minimum income tax guarantee. On est très content d'être là avec vous.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. Thanks for coming to Paris.
And Gabriel, so to begin, we're sitting here in a bunch of the Econ Normale Supérieure, and you are one of the kind of products of this extraordinary French educational system, but also been in Britain and States. So can you locate first how much you think your thoughts about inequality billionaires come from your personal experience, your experience in France, the problems that France is facing?
God.
Maybe a little glimpse into French politics, where the extreme left and the extreme right seem to be doing better than they were a few years ago.
Did you watch the podcast with Gary's Economics? I might have seen something from it, but probably not. When was it? Because I've seen a number of cringe Gary Stevenson clips, so, could have been.
For me, what's been important is I've spent about 10 years in California, in Berkeley. And this has radicalized me a little bit because in the Bay Area of San Francisco, you have extreme wealth, you have the wealth of billionaires, and you have extreme poverty, tens of thousands of homeless people. And year after year, I had the impression that this was getting worse. And that
I cannot explain.
I feel like I probably have seen some of this. But I mean, it's the same stuff he always says.
But they're 100% right. They were right. They are right. They're still there. They're still making millions of pounds. And look, 2008 crisis was resolved in such a way, the rich got massively richer, the poor got poorer. COVID crisis was resolved in such a way, the rich got massively richer, the poor got poorer. So they have the confidence. They basically own the political class.
Hold on. Do they vote?
Oh yeah, of course they do. But they don't always vote conservative. So Billy, this Scouse working class guy, he was extremely left-wing in his politics.
Rory tries to own him.
He had a lot of scorn for these. Overall, it's definitely more right-wing conservative leaning than the population. There's no doubt.
Did you feel political when you were doing the job? Do you have any sense of, as you were doing it, this is wrong, this is fueling inequality, we're actually betting on poor people staying poor?
This, in a sense, I think this is another
Where have I heard him talk about this one before?
thing of the book, which is I never consider myself to be a political person.
Why not?
Listen, I grew up, get rich or die trying. You grew up in, you grew up in London.
Well, now you think about it a lot.
Of course, now.
Worse. So it can't just be about wealth, can it? Because the US has got the wealth problem going through the roof, but their economy's grown 50% bigger than ours in the last
It's
50
not
years.
just about wealth, but if the picture is of a broadly weakening economy, why is basically every stock market in the world at an all-time record high? Why is the wealth of the rich and the super rich in this country at an all-time high? So this character, and don't get me wrong, there are other economic problems in this country and other countries, but if the situation is of a broad economic weakening, then why are the rich and the super rich aggressively, extremely rapidly getting richer?
But let me flip that around. If that's the...
I mean, I don't know by what metrics we're saying it's broad economic weakening.
Big problem.
Well, I mean, in the UK, I think it's fair to say that there's a bigger one, but I don't know if asset prices in the UK have been doing any better than like real GDP per capita if inequality is massively exploding in the UK. My understanding, it's not the case. The UK has like some major problem with inequality the same way the US, not the same way the US does, and the US has a major problem with inequality the same way that we don't. I also similarly don't think we have a massive inequality problem.
Far more billionaires in the US. There's far more inequality in the US, but the American economy is growing much faster than ours, and their productivity is much greater than ours.
Have you heard this term that's bouncing around a lot in the US economics and political discourse the last couple of years? The vibes are off. You heard that term? The vibes are off. So for people who don't know, this is the idea that basically
I heard Kyla Scanlon.
Americans think they're getting poor, but they're really not. They're idiots actually getting richer. Listen, again, I went to elite economics universities, and now I exist in a kind of politics media space. Most people are relatively rich, relatively financially comfortable. I don't think living standards are getting better for the average American. But the problem you have is, the problem with the crisis of inequality, which, as you say, if you have a broad economic weakening, everybody will say this is bad. The problem of a crisis of inequality is it looks great for the top 1% and looks pretty good for the top 5%. How many people outside of the top 5% are in this conversation? Top level politics, top level economics, top level academia, top level media, top level central banking. Basically, what you have is a bifurcated economy. You have an economy which is splitting. The top 1% is aggressively splitting off, and the top 5% are kind of hanging on to their coattails.
Let me try this one more time, Gary. US and European economies were about the same size 15 years ago. The American economy is now 50% larger than the European economy. Average incomes, even in a poor state like Mississippi, are now higher than average incomes in the United Kingdom. And they have the most extreme wealth inequality of anywhere on earth. And more equal societies, Germany, Sweden, Denmark, are not remotely achieving those levels of productivity and growth that they are in the US. So what's the reason for that?
I think there are a lot of reasons the US is growing quicker. I think you've seen they've moved into things like fracking, they've moved into things like tech, they managed to capture big tech. We have to accept the fact that the US
is fracking really the biggest? I mean, maybe it makes us more energy independent, like resilient to the type of shocks that Europe was subject to for Russia, Ukraine when that happened. But like, fracking cannot be. I don't know. Fred has fracking value added as percent of GDP. I don't know if. Fred is gonna have that. What would be? I don't want to include just like all energy, but like I guess I can look up energy value as percentage of GDP. It's probably not going to be. Is energy not a? Shouldn't there be an energy thing? You release your documentary if you want to watch. Is it if it's like a documentary? YouTube will let me watch it. It'll copy strike me.
The US is a much larger country with much more natural resources per person. It's much lower population density. It has some natural advantages. It's managed to capture some industries.
But 15 years ago, we were the same size as them. So what have they done over the last 15 years in policy terms that we haven't done?
Well, I think they've captured these growths, right? They've captured.
And they've
captured
tech.
tech.
They didn't do it through wealth tax, did they?
No,
rather reverse.
no.
They've gone the other direction.
But what happened in the US is the US will continue to grow and living standards will continue to fall for every person. It's the same thing that's happening here. You know,
Calvé.
The US has the same problem.
Just only 1%, 5%, etc.
Todd Logic watch it on Kick. Well, Kick doesn't have a very robust copyright system. YouTube would be the problem.
Come from a background where I imagine quite a lot of the people you grew up with will be tempted by the kind of populist far right.
Yeah.
Because they'll be saying, well, Labour doesn't deliver for me, Tories haven't delivered for me, Brexit's been a disaster, and therefore I'm going to try something that says it's going to blow up the system, even if it's not. What does it say about those people that they're tempted by people who pretend to represent them whilst actually being as 1% as they come? I would put Trump in that, I would put Johnson in that, I would put Farage in that.
I think you just have to recognise that the average person is not super interested in politics and they're not super aware of politics. So what people see, you probably didn't see, there was a sort of meme video that went around 2 years ago of an ice skating race, and they're going round and round the track, and just before the finish line, one of the skates falls over, and he takes out the whole line, all neck and neck, and there was one guy who's like nearly a lap behind, comes around and wins. For me, that's Farage, and that's also Trump, and that's the whole far right.
Just unbundle that, explain that.
What it is, across the Western world, people have voted centre right, centre left, centre right, centre left, and they've repeatedly seen increasingly rapid falls in living standards. And so, people will vote.
People skate in the front.
Listen, Obama's big slogan was hope and change. And where are living standards now compared to when Obama came in? For the average middle American, they're lower. They're significantly lower. So, people will vote for sensible hope, sensible change. It is obvious that the political centre is and will continue to fail on the economy. And it's not obvious to the people who are speaking about it because they're rich.
So it goes either hard right or hard left.
Well, and there is no hard left, right, in most countries. So listen, people are correct to demand change and to insist that they will no longer vote for establishment political parties who have presided over significantly, increasingly rapid falls in living standards for 20 years.
Who did you vote last time?
I voted for the Greens last time. But I'm in a safe seat. The Greens adopted my wealth tax policy in their manifesto. So, it would be pretty remiss of me not to vote for the single guys who literally adopted my policy.
I was looking at some polling last week that said that I think it was 80%. Now, I know people always say in theory, I don't mind tax.
Okay, let's see. Let's go back to that one.
In particular, I was not able to propose some solutions to that problem. And so I've seen the explosion of US inequality, the consequences that this has for politics and for democracy.
How long has he lived in the US for? Did he say when he moved there?
Stop billionaires, and you have extreme debates. Important is I've spent about 10 years in California, in Berkeley.
10 years in California.
This has radicalized me a little bit. Tens of the Democratic Party in particular.
And in the last 10 years, he's personally witnessed the explosion of inequality in the last 10 years.
Not able to propose some solutions to that problem. And so I've seen the explosion of US inequality, the consequences that this has for politics and for democracy in the US. And I think it's really extreme. If you look at the level of plutocratic capture that's happening today in the US, I think even people who are skeptical about the path of the US economy 10 or 15 years ago, none of them could have imagined what's happening today with Trump and how he's governing. So this has encouraged me to work more on these issues. And what I want to emphasize is that the explosion of billionaire wealth is not just in the San Francisco Bay Area. It's a global phenomenon. And in fact, it's probably one of the defining features of the world economy of the last 50 years.
This episode is presented by IG. Now,
got a sponsorship already.
On billionaires. What do you make of explain the tax they're bringing in California? What impact is it going to have? Is this the kind of model you're...
Does the Roy Stewart guy, does he have any economics training? Or is he just a politician? It says academic. Taught martial arts and fencing. Incredible. Oh, PPE. Okay, that's something, I guess.
You're looking for around the world, because that's your real example, right? Of the place you're complaining about and the same response.
So first of all, as we speak today, it's not yet 100% sure that the California billionaire tax is going to be on the ballot in November. But there's a fair chance. And so what is it about? It's a proposal to create a one-time 5% wealth tax on the wealth of California's billionaires. The billionaires of California...
Sayed's saying he doesn't want it to be one time.
250 of them, they own in wealth equivalent to 50% of California's GDP. That's really an enormous amount of wealth. And if you tax them...
Why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? Why are we comparing a stock to a flow? Why are we comparing a stock to a flow?
The state of California could get about $100 billion in tax revenue. And they want to use that to offset the deep cut.
Rosura Chill, he's imperfect, but he's leagues above basically any U.S. politician. I mean, I imagine he's not... He is a Tory, right? I imagine he's not as insane as our right-wing politicians tend to be. Oh, he's an independent now, apparently.
Cuts. Trump has made to Medicaid funding, which is a federal program for health insurance for low-income Americans. And so there's just a big hole in the budget of California for healthcare, and so they need more money. What's interesting is that it's both very big in terms of potential tax revenue, but it's also very tiny relative to the wealth of the billionaires, or the explosion of their wealth, because over the last 2 years, their wealth has increased 150%, right? So you take 5%, absolutely nothing is going to change for them, but it can make a big difference for the state of California, 40 million people.
Can I ask you?
5% of their wealth is obviously, that's basically... That's like 120% tax on a safe return. What is a 10-year treasury at right now? I think a 10-year treasury is like, I think it's about 4.5 maybe. 4.5, yeah. So 5 over this, I think it's not 120%, but almost 100. And like, I'm tired. I can't do math. I can't move to decimal places. Decimal 2 places over. Too hard. Too much work. It was 109%.
Tax when it comes on, but actually 80% of people say that they back a wealth tax. What would you? Let's try and flip around. Just be kind of back as a kind of somebody on the trading floor trying to work out probabilities. Do you see any downsides to a wealth tax economically?
If it's badly implemented. Do you remember when the Conservatives brought in extra tax on second home buyers? I was surprised by that because for me, I see the Conservatives as basically a group that represents the economic interests of the very rich, and they bring the second home.
What you mean by wealth? What are we actually talking about? Are we talking land? Are we talking income? Are we talking property? Are we talking corporation? Are we talking crypto? How?
Oh, you see what had to give directly? Okay, okay, I like him now. Okay, okay. Huge.
How do we assess how much wealth an individual has?
So what is wealth? Wealth is the value of everything that you own, financial assets and non-financial assets, net of debts. So it includes everything. It includes, for billionaires, primarily, it's shares in companies. It's equity in the businesses that they own. For the super rich, there is sometimes this view that wealth is very complicated, but the reality is that it's quite simple. About half of it, globally and in the UK in particular, corresponds to shares in publicly listed companies, listed on the stock market. So very clear, observable value. And most of the rest corresponds to shares in big private companies. But because we're talking about billionaires, these are going to be large corporations, not listed on the stock market, but not very complicated to value, because we know how to value big companies. We look at how similar businesses are listed on the stock market, are valued by the stock market. And let me just finish by saying that...
They don't have to... I could maybe... by second here. So... private companies don't have to report the same type of stuff that public companies do, right? Like public companies, we know a decent amount about Amazon's revenue and their profit and such each quarter because they report that to shareholders. Private companies don't do that, right? I could be mistaken, or at least they don't have the same obligation to do that. And then also, you say like half of it might be in privately traded companies now. You incentivize people to shift into harder to value assets. So it's not going to remain easy to value 50% of their assets forever because you incentivize people to shift to private companies. And you also, for like entry, for new companies, they have an incentive to stay private.
Of course, there's a bit more than that. So for instance, the billionaires, they have paintings, the Picassos, the yachts, and crypto. All of that exists. But first, it's only a small fraction of their wealth. And second, even those...
Didn't you just say it was 50%?
...to value, because we know there's a bit
more. Or is he saying, these are separate, these are the actual hard things about, I think he's saying.
For instance, the billionaires, they have paintings, the Picassos, the yachts, and crypto. All of that exists. But first, it's only a small fraction of their wealth. And second, even those forms of assets are not very hard to value. For instance, if you own a very valuable painting, there's an insurance value, it's insured, and so you can use that as a base for
but if you're, I don't know, Jeff Bezos, we all know the story that he takes no income, he's one of the richest men in the world, he even got a tax credit for one of his kids, which is utterly obscene, everybody can agree with that. But at the same time, are we seriously saying that somebody like him is going to have to, in his tax returns, list all his paintings, list all his cars, list all his watches? I'm just trying to get a feeling of how you come to a view that this is a person's wealth, how we assess that.
So first of all, you have to avoid a mistake that was done in the past by all the countries that used to have wealth taxes, which is to let people self-report. If you let people self-report on their wealth, some of them are going to report honestly, but there's also going to be sometimes a temptation to forget about some assets or to undervalue
Harburger tax fixes this.
Others. And so the better way to proceed is to have the government send a pre-populated wealth tax return based on the information that the government, HMRC in the UK, already collects. And the government has access to a lot of data on wealth. You have the land registry for real estate. There is now an automatic exchange of bank information between countries. So HMRC actually receives data on the wealth held by Britons in foreign banks. There's been for a long time an automatic exchange of information between domestic financial institutions and the tax authority. So the right way to proceed, in my view, is HMRC should use all that information, send a pre-populated return saying, okay, based on what we know, and based on the assessment that we've made of the value of the businesses that you own, we think that your wealth is X, let's say £1 billion. And of course, taxpayers then could make corrections and amendments, and that's okay. But the opening bid made, if you want, has to be made by the tax administration.
So when we're talking about these billionaires, probably the most dramatic world-changing example is what's happening in California. And a lot of this is the story about American tech and hyperstatus, right? This is Elon Musk sets up Tesla. He starts with shares which are worth $1. They're now worth $170. Or he launches SpaceX. Or Jeff Bezos starts out of his father-in-law's backyard and now he's built Amazon. Right? And it's a very, very interesting, very rapid kind of wealth. I mean, these guys 10, 15 years ago had much, much less money. And the reason that Elon Musk is a trillionaire, whereas 2 weeks ago I think he was worth 600 billion, is because he just did the SpaceX IPO, where suddenly he's like projecting he's going to land people on Mars, he's going to have data centers and skyscrapers. So you're analyzing as an economist something which is also technological and cultural, right? It's a very, very strange new development in the way that wealth is generated and the rapidity with which it's generated.
I think it's part of the story, to be sure, the rise of tech and
well, in California, you talk about,
yes, but if you look at the world...
let's focus 200 people, California, 50%. Yeah.
Well, sure. I mean, in California, a lot of the wealth of billionaires corresponds to wealth that belongs to tech people.
And most of them are founders, co-founders, early investors in tech startups.
Absolutely, yeah. But I think that it's not relevant what sector they operate in, what are the individual merits or demerits of the people involved. Taxation, wealth taxation is not about people. It's not about their characters. It's about money. It's about budget. It's about how we organize our collective spending. And so the fact that they've been operating in this other industry, I think, should not matter. They've all benefited from...
So I don't know why he's bringing up the specific sector or whatever. He might be saying it's going to be hard to value some of that stuff or whatever. Or I think probably more relevant, we care about it because these are like innovations, like genuine innovations, high growth sectors, right, that are contributing significantly to American growth. And they're, a lot of tech companies, there aren't many tech companies stationed in Europe. Okay, they got Spotify. That's about it. I don't think they got much else. Does Nokia count? I think Finland has Nokia, but that's Nokia. And you don't want to disincentivize entry or further investment in those industries. And then, I don't know exactly why. I imagine that's why he's bringing it up, but who knows?
Government spending.
Oh, thanks, Edge, for being a piece of shit again.
Like SpaceX would not be possible without all the investments, but it was...
There's two different moves happening. On the one hand, you say it doesn't matter how they make the money. On the next one, you say, they made the money with government subsidy. So it sounds
all billionaires. So like all wealth creation.
So it's one or the other. Either you're saying, I don't care how they made their money, or you're saying they didn't make their money in the right way because they made it with government subsidy.
What I want to say is that the tax rate should not be decided based on the individual trajectories or merits of the individuals involved. So you have good people among billionaires, you have less good people, and it just doesn't matter at all.
Is there risk, though, that this is a classic economist position? All other things being equal, here are these rational people, it doesn't matter who they are, it doesn't matter what industry they're in, we're just going to treat them all the same. Right? But of course, in reality, these things go wrong precisely because the incentives of individuals, the incentives of particular sectors matter. So the real question, I suppose, if I pose it to you, is not how do we tax yesterday's billionaires, how do we tax the billionaires of the future?
Okay.
Right? And what are the incentive structures which are going to determine, let's say you're setting up a big tech company, whether you're going to put yourself in France, where Gabrielle is going to tax you, or whether you're
going
to put yourself in...
I don't know why we're framing it this way.
Okay, so let's talk about these two issues, which is one, would the tax on wealth discourage people from innovating, from becoming entrepreneurs? And second, this issue of international mobility. So on the first issue, I've spent 10 years in California. I was in the faculty at Berkeley. I've taught literally thousands of students who then went, launch a business, work in tech, and so on. And I've defended lots of projects for billionaire taxation, including in the US. And not once have I ever had a student come to my office and tell me, oh, look, Professor, I'm very excited about the prospect of creating a company. I want to become an entrepreneur. But I'm really worried about the amount of tax that I would have to pay if I become a billionaire or a centimillionaire. It's just such an unlikely event. And we're talking about a 0.0001% chance that you're going to have such success that nobody age 20, 25, thinks about this. It's just not relevant. And we're talking also about, in the case of the California billionaire tax, a 5% one-off tax on their wealth, which the wealth of billionaires has been multiplied by a factor of 30 over the last 30 years. So we're talking about really low tax rates for people who are extremely wealthy. It's not going to discourage.
Why is this even relevant? What? The entry into the people's decision about whether to enter into the tech CEO market?
Anyone from innovating, from creating a startup. What really matters to encourage, to foster innovation is not to guarantee a zero.
It's government research.
Tax rate on billionaires, but it's to invest in education, in higher education, in public infrastructure, in healthcare, in all these core engines of economic growth. This is how the UK and France and the US have become prosperous countries, is because they've chosen over the course of the 20th century to make those massive public investments which have lifted productivity by a factor of 10.
And the mobility point?
As on mobility, it's an issue that needs to be taken seriously. But what's really important to understand is that tax competition is not a law of nature, like gravity. Sometimes people think that you tax billionaires in the UK and they move to Dubai, and it's like a law of nature. It's not like that. It's a policy choice. It's something that we can choose to accept or that we can choose to fight. So for instance, the way it works in the US is that if you have US citizenship, you have to pay taxes to the US no matter where you live until you die. So You can move to Dubai. It makes no difference. You still have to file your tax return and the income tax in the US. That's one model. So there's no incentive to move abroad for tax reasons. What other countries do, including the UK, is the opposite extreme in some sense. Or in France, what we do is we say, okay, someone who has spent all their life in the UK and now decides to move abroad, then immediately the UK stops taxing that person. I think that's not reasonable. And my proposal is to strike a kind of middle ground where if you've lived for a long time in the UK and you became very rich in the UK and now you move to another country, then the UK keeps taxing you for a number of years, perhaps not until you die, like in the US, but let's say for 10 years.
But if you look at where all billionaires are.
Well, okay, I'm too tired to do this. Okay, I woke up early today. We'll keep watching at least one of these tomorrow. Okay, but I think I'm going to have more fun watching Trump on my own, and I think y'all will have more fun watching Trump with Soy Pill and Wick. Okay, so head over there. I'll stream it tomorrow, and then I'll see tomorrow if either tomorrow or the day after if I can talk to Caden and have a little socialism debate, whatever. And then I think I'll be Sunday I start working employment. Horrible. So I don't know what I'll do. We'll see. I'm not gonna stop streaming or anything. I'm really lazy to begin with, so I don't think it'll actually affect things that much. Okay, but head over to Soy Pill. I'll see you guys tomorrow. I appreciate everyone stopping by. Appreciate all the likes, all the subs, all the super chats. Tell Soy Pill I say hi. I'll see you guys later.